The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Pop in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast coming to you August 28th, 2024. Coming to you live streaming here tonight with my boys Matthew Allen and Chris Lacy here. What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up?
So we
hey, good to be back.
Matt, there's no way you ain't that shy. Stop. You ain't that shy. A little delay. Either you're buffering or you're really on a delay there. But no. Now we did this last month. Was it last month we did the 80s draft?
Yeah, it was
July,
yeah.
Right? And we like it so much. We actually got together now, and now we're gonna do a 1990s album draft. Now that episode initially morphed into from a 10 rounds initially?
10 to 15.
And it went to 15 in the middle of the show. And then we realized that we do a 90s draft. 15 ain't enough, bro. 15 ain't enough. So we decided we're gonna go 20 rounds of drafting the what we feel are the best albums of the 1990s, regardless of genre, for the record. So everything's in play here. But before we get started, we're gonna have to figure out the order of the draft. So we don't know exactly who's going first, second, or third. So we're going to do the randomizer here right now. So with the third pick in the 1990 album draft, that goes to
Big Bucks.
Oh, I always lose. See, and me again, every time. Do you understand that every single draft I do with regardless of whatever I do, I'm always the last pick?
Maybe you should reverse it, and you should do the first pick. This is the first pick, and then you'll get picked.
Right, exactly. Seriously. So I'm last again. All right. By the way, this is not a snake draft either. So with the second pick in the 1990s album draft on Earnestly podcast,
Big Bucks, no whammies, big bucks, and stop.
So basically, it's the same order as last time.
Same as last year, same as last month. All right, I'm ready.
So Matt with the first pick. This is also not a snake draft. I'm sure people are asking about what are the rules here. That's the only rule. It's not a snake draft. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not snake draft. You guys, for all you fantasy football lovers out there. Yeah. So I'm really scared. I'm really scared to find out which pick you're doing here. All right, so Matthew Allen with the first pick in the Earnestly Speaking podcast, 1990s album draft. Who are you going with? And please don't take my album, please.
I was about to say, please don't take mine.
Okay, I actually had this one picked, but I'm gonna pull an audible right at the beginning just because last time I did the logical choice. This time I'm going to do the heart choice. Last time I picked between two Michael Jackson albums. I picked Thriller over Bad, even though I preferred Bad. This time I'm doing the reverse. I am picking for my first pick 1995's History by Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to do it.
Why?
Okay. Because I prefer History to Dangerous personally. I realize that Dangerous has more hits on it in terms of charting hits, but History sold the same amount of albums throughout the United States. Plus, I'll put the first 5 songs of History over the first 5 songs of any of Michael's albums any day, outside of maybe Off the Wall, which is right up there. I mean, you have Scream, you have They Don't Care About Us, yep. You have Stranger in Moscow, one of Michael's best songs. You've got Earth Song, you have Childhood, you have Tabloid Junkie. So many songs. This album is basically the manifest of what it's like to deal with celebrity worship and what it is to deal with social political issues in a 24-hour news cycle. It makes more sense now than it did back in 1995.
That album is so prophetic too, also into today's society.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so prophetic, and that's ultimately why I had to choose over Dangerous.
Yeah. Well, don't do it, Chris, for the second pick.
I'm doing it because I thought Matthew was going to take my pick, man. You know I got to go with Dangerous, man. That's my number one pick.
You take on my Michael stuff, man. That is not right, man. That is not right.
So
this is why I wanted the first pick or the second pick in the draft. Now it's gone. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I get it. So my reason for picking it, I did a 30th anniversary article on this album a few years ago, and my theory was a lot of fans. Thank you very much for that. A lot of fans are now starting to gravitate to it. Is that Dangerous is the greatest gospel album ever marketed as pop music, quote unquote.
Right.
When you understand how he came up as a Jehovah's Witness, from his childhood up to 1987, before he withdrew his faith. He was constantly under this pressure of, okay, I'm trying to be a devout Jehovah's Witness, but I'm also trying to achieve my goals as an entertainer, right? So there's always that friction. And when the Jehovah's Witness church kicked him out, like they said, hey, like you're excommunicated, we don't want to associate with you anymore. He then turned that church hurt into art that could resonate with everybody. So I think every song on this album serves a unique purpose. That album takes you on a roller coaster through life, letting you know that, hey, being human is exciting, but it's messy as well. But through the highs and lows and twists and turns, God's with us every step of the way. And I think that is that's the centerpiece of what Michael wanted to communicate on Dangerous. And to me, if you ask me what his best album is, even though as much as I love Bad, that's my favorite, his best all-around effort is Dangerous, hands down.
Yeah. Well, my boy Brandon here says it should have been Neverman as the first pick. Funny enough, Neverman was the album. Neverman was the album that actually took for Dangerous off the number one charts.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely it was.
So
I love Dangerous. Actually, Chris, just wanted to shout you out. You wrote an excellent article on the 30th anniversary of Dangerous. I wrote something on the 25th anniversary before yours, but then when I read yours, I was like, oh, it's so good. I love the whole aspect of the biblical aspects of it. There's so many biblical references all across Dangerous. In the book of Isaiah, he mentions in Heal the World will turn their swords into plowshares. And he talks about, he does Proverbs in the song Dangerous, the lips of a strange woman just as a honeycomb. Her inner spirit's as sharp as a double-edged sword. All of Will You Be There, that's the story of burning bush in Exodus. You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of biblical references all over Dangerous. So excellent choice.
Yeah, Michael's songwriting is actually one of the most underrated qualities about him as an artist, actually.
Absolutely.
Saying a lot considering all the things he can do. So obviously, this is the same. This is like the same theme the last 80s draft. MJ off the board, first two picks.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed right now, we're Michael homers.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm not even
question.
I'm not even sorry about it, but unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to take any of the albums. So, well.
Well, you could take one if you really want to be bold. You could take one.
That's a bold one. It's a bold choice.
That is not an album. That is not an album.
It's an album, bro.
That is not an album.
It's not technically an album. It's not canon. It's not canon.
If you took off the remixes, it's really an EP.
Yeah, it's an EP.
It is.
Yeah. Like it's remixes.
But I will say that there's certain songs from that EP I would switch with some songs on History. Isn't Scary in particular.
There you go.
Yes.
My man.
All right, now we got all the Michael stuff out the way. Third pick in the draft. I'm going to go home here because I know, obviously, he took my stuff, so I got to go my second favorite music act of all time. I'm going to take the biggest selling heavy metal album in the history of metal. I'm going to take Metallica's Black Album.
Yeah.
That album is still, to this day, 33 years later, sells 500,000 to 1 million copies a year.
That's
to this
crazy.
day.
Crazy.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. That thing is that album has been on the top, I think, 200 book charts consistently for 30-something years.
Yeah.
Obviously, Enter Sandman, and look, I'm a hardcore Metallica fan, so, obviously, I'm a homer here, but you can't, this was the album that put the band into the mainstream. This was the album that put them into, okay, we're not just like the biggest metal band, now we're one of the biggest bands, period, on the planet. You know what I mean? And so this is the album that did it for them. So
EJ, quick question about that. Do you think the album before this one Like, do you think they perfected their sound, and then with the Black Album, quote unquote?
You mean this one?
Yes. Do you think that
Yes.
they perfected their sound, and then when they went into the 90s, like that's when they popularized their sound?
Well, yeah, because first off, they changed their entire songwriting, the entire like recording behavior changed on on the record. They got a new producer in Bob Rock.
Right.
Bob Rock absolutely changed everything about the band. Everything they believed in, they went the other way. Justice for All, there was no bass in their album whatsoever. There was no bass. Jason Newsted's bass was gone in the mix. Gone. So Bob Rock brought that back. They wrote simpler songs. Like Justice for All has like songs that are like damn near 10 minutes long. Okay, and now granted, as a hardcore fan, I love it, but is it marketable to people? Not necessarily. No. And this sounds completely different. And then of course there's more of a focus on James Hetfield's vocals. That was the first time they really centered Hetfield's vocals as a thing. So yeah, that's where for me the change. Well, for everybody, if I matter, the change really is between Justice for All and Black Album. Massive change. Yeah, but it was a good one. It's a good one. So
it's a great album. It's a dope record. My 13-year-old son is getting introduced to it through Fortnite.
Nice.
So he knows a lot of those because there's like a Metallica
there is. My son plays
thing on Fortnite, and like there's like 10 songs on it, and like 4 of them are from the Black Album.
So I imagine it's Sandman, Sad But True, Nothing Else Matters, and probably Unforgiven, right?
Exactly.
Okay, those are the 4. Okay.
Oh, Wherever I May Roam is on it too.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, Sad But True. That's just I just love this. It's funk. There's so much funk hidden in that. It's just I love it.
The recording of that song. I mean, we'll move on to the next round in a second. Watching the documentary of that making that album, the year and a half of Metallica.
Yeah.
It was two discs. Because one tape was the making the album. The other tape was the actual tour. And the making the album that changed my life. That made me want to be a musician. And watching how they made Sad But True, like how they doubled the guitar sound. Like they put like guitars on guitars, and they actually, to keep the sound crisp and centered and heavy, they would put like a bunch of cardboard around the speakers so the sound would be enclosed. So that that shit, that's where it came from. It was from that was what Bob Rock brought to Metallica. Was that the bigger picture of how do you produce a great album. So a lot of fans hate. So a lot of hardcore fans didn't like it at first because Metallica selling out. But look, they that album sold out 35 million copies worldwide. So something worked. Something worked. So all right, round number 2, Matthew, what you got?
All right. So for round number 2, I am picking 1998's "The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill" by Lauryn Hill.
Oh my God, that's on the list. That was definitely on the list.
Yeah. So, I mean, what can I say? I wrote about this last year for the Griot about the 25th anniversary. It's basically a perfect album. And it's just like you did, for Chris, for Dangerous. I focused a lot on the Abrahamic aspects of all the references that she made. There's so much scripture from the Bible, scripture from the Torah, scripture from the Quran. That's all throughout that album. The fact that it sold 10 million copies with all these biblical Abrahamic references is astounding. But then you have all these great records like Doo-Wop That Thing, like Everything Is Everything, which is one of the songs that proves that she is the greatest female MC of all time. You have Nothing Even Matters, this beautiful ballad with D'Angelo, which should have been a single, but it was a single on the radio. It was played on the radio nonstop anyway. Right. But then you have X Factor. You have Lost Ones, one of the best diss records of all time. You have, I Used to Love Him, a great duet with Mary J. Blige. It's a perfect record. I understand why she never made an album again after that, because how in the world could you possibly live up to it? And another thing in terms of like the biblical references, the song Tell Him, the closing song on the album, it's a great song. A lot of people, when they hear it, they think it's a love song. It's a song about Christ. The whole thing is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. So it's like, it's a beautiful record. Beautiful record. I
agree.
Perfect.
I had to buy multiple copies of that album when it came out because I played that album so much in 1998, 1999 that I had to buy another copy. That got so much airplay, so much play in my car at the time. I was like 18, 19 years old at the time the album came out. So Yeah, that album's my top 10 personal favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, and it's so good because it deals with social issues. It deals with the state of hip hop at the time. It deals with people who are evil and try to overcome the evil. Dealing with heartbreak all while this is happening. Where Ras Baraka is talking to the classroom about the aspect of love throughout the whole thing. Right. It's just beautiful. You have Every Ghetto, Every City, which is it's sort of like a I Wish by Stevie Wonder sort of thing. But it has so many references of like gospel, of reggae, of dance hall, of pop, like I Can't Take My Eyes Off You. But don't get it twisted. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a hip hop record.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Chris, what you got? Round 2. What you got? Second pick.
Yeah. So funny enough, my next pick that I already had slated was a hip hop pick, and I'm gonna go with the Low End Theory, A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, I love that.
Gotta go.
Doggone it, man. Good for you.
With it.
That's the best rap album of all time.
And
is it really?
It is.
I would say so. Yeah. So I mean, everything you basically said about Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is kind of how I feel about Low End Theory. I mean, like it is a flawless record from start to finish, and even just like I was hooked on the intro, like the opening track is like dum 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 dum.
Oh yeah, that bass line is crazy.
It's crazy. And then I think probably the greatest compliment I can give this album is that when Ron Carter decides to show up on verbs or verses from the abstract, you basically bless that album, saying like, yo, like this is legit art that we're making right now. So like everybody is on their A game. I know a lot of folks say that this is the best album from their original trilogy. I happen to fall in that camp, even though the next album that came out is a banger as well. But yeah, this album is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And man, I'm torn on my favorite song. Like, I mean, you got Bugging Out, you got gosh, I'm trying to think of I'm drawing a blank on the other songs that are on this album, but probably I'll go with Bugging Out for today. That's probably my favorite track on the album.
Yeah, I would say for me, Excursions, the opener, is up there.
Yes.
Also, I love Scenario, the closer with Busta Rhymes and Leaders of the New School. I also love Sky Pager. The beat on Sky Pager is great. And of course, we got the jazz.
Yeah, for sure. And check the rhyme is as well. I mean, like, I had to look the track list just to remind myself what's on there because, Tribe was crazy during this time. So I'll go with Low End Theory as my second pick.
All right, I'm gonna my second pick. I'm gonna go with the same vibe, sick of hip hop. I was gonna go one album from his, but I'm gonna go to the first album. Actually, I'm gonna go with Biggie Smalls' "Ready to Die."
Oh, great pick!
That was gonna be my next one. Doggone it! Well, that was my next pick.
Great pick.
You stole Michael from me, man, so I'm getting Biggie.
All right.
I mean, you have One More Chance, Juicy, Everyday Struggle, Big Papa, lot of legendary tracks on this record. He only has what, 2 albums?
Yeah, he has technically he has 3, but he only had 2. Well, that's the only one that was released during his lifetime. Right. The second album he completed during his lifetime, which was Life After Death.
Right. Which is so fitting. Crazy. But it's funny, like this guy's legacy in just 2 records. And this one being obviously probably I would say this is the biggest of the 2, probably. I would say.
No, Ready to Die is Diamond.
Is it really? Okay.
It's at 11 million. Yeah.
And this one's what? This is what? Probably not that far off, I'm sure.
Like 6-7 for Ready to Die, but Ready to Die is one of the 13 Diamond rap albums in history.
What would you say is his magnum opus?
Oh, I think Ready to Die, but it's by like this much because Life After Death is great. But I just think that
I was about to say, I mean, with Life After Death, I mean, it's a double album. Plus, I mean, you got Hypnotized, More Money, More Problems, Sky's the Limit. I mean, like a lot of his biggest hits are on Life After Death. So I
almost picked that album. I almost picked that first, but I was like, no, but whatever.
I wish you did because I really wanted Ready to Die. I really did. Ready to Die is quietly one of the best concept albums in hip hop. People don't think of Ready to Die as a concept album. It really is. It follows a linear path. You think about songs like Things Done Changed, where Biggie's talking about how his neighborhood has changed because of the crack epidemic, and then his journey of being a drug dealer, straddling the line between being a drug dealer and being a rapper, and then dealing with his depression that's leading him to suicidal thoughts, literally and figuratively. And then it ends with suicidal thoughts when he ultimately takes his own life at the end because he thinks about all the people he wronged or people who are not doing well because of the life that he chose. It's a brilliant, brilliant record.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we get to round 3, if you got guys watching the show on the chat, on YouTube, on Facebook, on what am I missing? X/Twitter. Feel free to chat in. Feel free to chat and react to our picks. All right, round 3. Matt, go ahead.
All right, for round 3, since you took Ready to Die, I'll take the other great album that came out in 1994 in terms of hip hop, and that is 1994's Illmatic by Nas.
Yeah, dang it. I
love
can't
it.
blame you.
Love
I
it.
can't
Love
blame you,
it.
man.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
A lot of people say this is the greatest hip hop album of all time. I'd still take Law and Theory just personally over it, but since Chris got it, I'm gonna take Illmatic. I mean, it's what can you say? There's no fat on this record. There really isn't. I mean, it's one of the most innovative albums in terms of just using multiple producers. You have 5 different producers on this record, but it really shines. And then the way that Nas is rhyming and his cadence and his wordplay, his metaphors, his storytelling, the fact that he was 17, 18, 19 when he was writing and recording this and ultimately releasing it at 19, it's so brilliant. You think of, lines like I never sleep because sleep is a cousin of death. You think of songs like One Love, which tells us, which is a letter to his homies that are locked up. You think of songs like Memory Lane and a great, his lyrical dexterity on a song like It Ain't Hard to Tell. There's just so many Nas classics. Yeah, you go to a concert by a famous person, and there are songs that that you can't not do. A lot of the songs that Nas can't not do, or that he has to do when he performs, a lot of them come from this album. Whether it's New York State of Mind, The World Is Yours, One Love, It Ain't Hard to Tell. It's just classic after classic after classic.
Yeah,
I love it.
And quick, since we said we're Michael Homers, I would say that It Ain't Hard to Tell is probably my favorite sample of Human Nature.
Oh God, what is it better than the SWV sample?
To me it is.
That's tough. But I would say I love what Large Professor did as far as like sampling Human Nature and making it blend to fit what the story that Nas was telling.
Right.
Yeah, that filtered bass line is great. I also like the Big Sean did a record with Lil Wayne on this Detroit called his Detroit 2 album that he uses the last part of Human Nature at the end. That's like my second favorite use. But Human Nature, like, there's no such thing as a bad Michael sample if I really think about it. But Human Nature gets used a lot. So, but no, he really. I love that filtered bass sample he uses.
Well, because that song starts a chord, and that song, especially the way he explained it with Nas, phenomenal job by Nas.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, third pick. What you got?
All right, third pick. I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna go with an instrumental hip hop album called "Introducing" by DJ Shadow.
Ooh, what was it called?
Introducing.
Okay.
Introducing.
Introducing.
So there's a Twitter page called Melodies and Masterpieces that I follow, and they posted a question recently saying, what album would you recommend to somebody that dislikes hip hop? So the reason I have picked Introducing is that I think an instrumental album is a great way to ease someone into that world, because anybody that appreciates, just gorgeous soundscapes, you're going to get that from DJ Shadow, because like there's very little to no voices that are used. It's basically like it's ambient music, but it's got some hip hop elements to it. Like it's basically think of like imagine like Brian Eno doing a hip hop album, and that's essentially what you're going to get with Introducing from DJ Shadow. So I would go with that. If anybody isn't into hip hop, that's a great entry point.
I'll check it out. I know who DJ Shadow is. I just never heard that album. Actually.
Yeah.
So
it's like his debut. It's like his debut album, I think.
Right.
It is.
What year was it out?
It came out in 96, and chances are when you see the album cover, you've seen it everywhere. You just didn't know that it was DJ Shadow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Brian Eno analogy is very accurate.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my third pick here. I'm gonna diversify again here. So I went rock first. I went hip hop. So I'm gonna go pop here. I'm gonna go with my favorite Madonna album of all time, and certainly my top 10, 15 albums of all time. Madonna's Ray of Light.
You talked about that in the last one.
Yep. Yeah, I told you guys, Ray of Light was a massive departure for her personally and also musically too. Also, it came out of nowhere, and what was she practicing the time back then? She was practicing not Scientology. She was doing
Kabbalah.
Thank you. And so that whole album was centered around that, but it's not hokey though. It sounds really good. The songs are like Frozen and those songs. I mean, the album just sounded phenomenal, and it's really
risky,
very risky. But man, this is why I keep saying about Madonna, man. She I think we sometimes forget just how good she is, man. She knows how to adjust. She's so good.
I gotta say though, that 3-album run, well, really 4-album run of if she goes from like all of her 90s albums to that point, I'm Breathless, all the way to Erotica, to Bedtime Stories, to Ray of Light. Yeah. None of them sound the same at all. Even from Like a Virgin to True Blue to Like a Prayer, it's still, there's a trajectory she's following. The music is maturing, but it's still sort of the same kind of sound. But all 4 of those albums don't sound anything like that. And to have Frozen be the lead single of that album was ballsy.
I agree.
By the way, Bedtime Stories is a close second for record. Second for me, favorite album. I love Bedtime Stories. So, and that album slaps. The Human Nature and that album slaps. Maybe I pick it before the night's over. Who knows? We'll see. All right, all right. Round 4, guys. Matt.
All right. I picked MJ, so now I'm gonna pick MJ's little sister. I'm gonna pick 1997's "The Velvet Rope" by Janet Jackson.
Ooh.
Yeah. Man, oh man. This is such an important album for Janet. I wrote about this a couple years ago for the 25th anniversary for the Griot, and talked about how the way that she embraced the darkness that she was going through with her depression, the way she notched up the sexuality from the previous album to this one. The previous album was really sensuous, and then Velvet Rope is really more about kink, which is not the same thing. And it was really, really forthcoming for Janet in terms of just being really fearless about her feelings. You have songs like Rope Burn, which is very kinky, or her cover of Tonight is the Night by Rod Stewart, and not changing the pronouns. But then you also have songs like What About, which is about domestic violence. Yep. You have a song like You, which is talking about, fighting your inner demons. And of course you have the hits, Go Deep, Together Again, I Get Lonely, which is one of my favorite Janet songs of all time, I Get Lonely. It's just a phenomenal record. It takes you on an emotional roller coaster. I love it.
By the way, my favorite Janet song of all time is on that album as well too. Go Deep. That bass line is sick.
Yeah. Shout out to Jam and Lewis, man. They always just get some of the best. That's another thing about history, just real quick. I'm angry that Michael didn't continue to work with Jam and Lewis after the History Blonde the Dance Floor era, because they were really onto something special. That collaboration, they really, really were.
But Janet learned that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep it going.
Yeah.
But whatever. Okay, so Chris, your 4th pick.
Man, I'm torn right now because you mentioned Janet, and I was starting to think maybe I need to go this route, but I mean, there's so many to pick from, so I'll go with OK Computer by Radiohead.
I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that's probably the biggest album, the best album of the 1990s. A lot of people, I see a lot of like top 10, 20 lists, and a lot of people have that album at least in top 5.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, not 97 in general. I mean, like that year had a lot of big, albums come out, but OK Computer for me, what stands out to me about it is I think many of the best albums, like when they deal with brokenness, I tend to gravitate to it more because I see myself in the art as well. So when a song like No More Surprises connects with me, like that song blew me away first time I heard it. Mm-hmm. Because everybody can relate to a time that that you're going through a difficult season or thing, life is not meeting your expectations and you're trying to figure out your place in the world. So an album like OK Computer not only does that, on a storytelling level, but just sonically, it does so many great things as far as innovation. So there's so many bands that have copied, the blueprint that OK Computer put down. So that would be my next pick. I love OK Computer. It's a brilliant album.
Yeah, I like that. All right, my fourth pick, I'm gonna go with an album that came out of nowhere. But this album was on radio, big time in my high school years, going to my junior year, and that is 1990. Is it 95, 96? It came out, but Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah, that was
album. This album. 95. It came out technically, but
you took it.
But 96 is where it really popped. Mm-hmm. All the videos, like she was. I would argue in 1996 she was the most popular artist in music in 96.
Absolutely,
I would argue that. And this album to this day still in my household gets regular airplay. My wife loves this album. I love this album. Phenomenal record by Alanis Morissette. Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I we saw Alanis a few weeks ago, and bro, when I tell you, like there are some songs where she sounds better live than she does on the record, which is
really
insane to say. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Like we both looked at each other saying, like, oh my gosh, does she sound better now than she does, back in the 90s, like almost 30 years ago? Like it's insane to think
that's
about.
Interesting. That is interesting, actually.
Time has been good to her. She's aged gracefully. She still sounds phenomenal live. And if you ever get a chance to see her in concert, definitely seize the opportunity.
Unfortunately, I missed her this summer. We were going to see her, then we just forgot about the show and it came out. It came and went. So yeah. All right, round 5, Matt. What you got?
Darn you, man. Damn you, man. I really thought that was going to drop lower.
Don't touch Michael then. See? This is what you get. That's 2 now.
All right. Okay. All right. So, wow, I'm in an interesting situation here. Okay. So, what round is this?
Round 5.
Round 5. All right. So this band released 3 albums in the 90s. This is my favorite one. I objectively think this is the best of the 3, and I actually think this is the best album that they've ever released, which is kind of which might be controversial.
Wait, you better not do this.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna take it. Oh no,
I'm gonna take 1999's "Californication" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay. I was thinking something else, but go ahead.
Don't. I was gonna say, don't do it.
Yeah.
Next pick is coming. My next pick is.
I think I know what you're gonna pick next because I might have picked that, but I think I know what you're gonna pick next, unless Chris gets it first. But
I don't think Chris will get it. I'm confident. I think Chris will get it.
I think you and I know what we're talking about. But just getting back to this, so Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. This is the John Frusciante was gone for one hot minute, comes back for this time around. And the maturity, look, the funkiness of albums like Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and then the majority, okay, and then the maturity that we see in albums like By the Way and further on, it meet in the middle right here with Californication. Californication, you have the band dealing with, the aftermath of their drug addiction, the maturity and the wariness of being a popular rock and roll band. But like I said, they're still funky with songs like All Around the World. They're introspective with songs like Scar Tissue and The Other Side. You have brilliant alternative rock like Californication. One of my favorite rock ballads of the era, which is Porcelain. It's just a great record, man, from top to bottom. I love it. It's just a great mixture of maturity and adventurousness.
A lot of folks will say that's not their best album, though.
To me, it's their best album. To me, it's their best album, and I think that's my and it's my favorite too. But to me, it's their best album.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Mary Jo's asked what we're talking about here. We're talking about the Chili Peppers, actually, Californication album.
Yeah, Californication. That was my pick.
Yeah.
I think it's a great record.
Yeah, it's a really good record. It was great. 99 was one of the better albums of that year. So I agree. All right, Chris, your fifth pick is what?
All right, I'm gonna be kind. I won't pick the one that you're thinking. So
I don't think you're thinking about it. To be honest with you, I don't think. You
Okay,
are. I think
all
Matt
right.
might be on that level, but not you.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll let you know if I was gonna pick it.
If you're gonna pick it, pick it. I don't care.
Cool.
I'd be shocked to pick it though.
No, like I said, there's plenty to choose from. I'm gonna go with Mary J. Blige's best album, My Life.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
That's
94.
That's a good one.
94.
That was
94.
Not 94.
November 1994.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So my mom is at least in my life, she's the biggest Mary J. Blige fan I've ever met in my entire life, and she had this album on repeat when we were stationed in Puerto Rico. She served 10 years in the military, and I mean, I pretty much have this album memorized from start to finish. But my favorite song on there is "Be Happy." It's towards the end of the record. Like, that is my favorite Mary J. Blige song. And we actually saw her live a few years ago, and she still puts on a great show. But
she can still dance, right? She can dance.
She still got that drunk auntie vibe, whenever she dances. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's still like drunk.
I don't understand how she gets her so parallel and her legs are. So, it's just, I never understood how she doesn't fall down when she does.
I know, because like she'll like rock like this, and then she'll do like a random kick. I don't know. She's doing Mary J. Blige, but no, like that. All jokes aside, like, I know that she was wrestling with drugs, and I want to say,
was she really? Well, back then.
Yeah. Back then, she used to be hooked on drugs, and I think you guys keep me honest. Wasn't she going through a breakup with Casey from Jodeci?
Yes,
I thought she was.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
how about that?
So all of that feeding into the music. I mean, the most common saying is life imitates art. So I think that's what made that album resonate with a lot of people. Is like they could kind of see themselves in the brokenness. So yeah, that's my favorite Mary J. Blige album. I think it's her best album overall.
I think what made her great too. Also, she was such a great singer, but she had a very hood quality to her. She had a very street, level to her too. Also, that kept her like with authenticals in that way. So that's why it resonated with a larger audience, and just like, well, I'm a great singer like Whitney Houston, but I'm clean cut. No, she was raw.
Yeah,
and that's why a lot of people liked her, and still likes her to this day.
Yeah.
All right. So by the way, Chris, you did not take my pick. Thank God. You weren't even close to my pick, because let me ask before I pick it. Matt, do you know what my pick was going to be?
It was going to be Dookie, right?
No.
Oh.
No. My third favorite music act of all time, Queen, Innuendo. And my favorite.
Really?
And my favorite Queen album of all time is that album as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Innuendo?
Yep.
Yo. Good for you, man. That's a good pick. That to me, first of all, that album was done literally before Freddie passed away. So you hear, like, a lot of the songs, you hear the strain in his voice. Like, he was literally on his last years with having HIV. And but the songs are amazing. Like obviously Bohemian Rhapsody gets all the love for classically because of the legacy and all that. Innuendo, the song itself, I would say it's on level, if not even better than Bohemian Rhapsody in my opinion. Mm-hmm.
I love Innuendo. The Spanish guitar in the middle of that. There's so many great songs on that record. And honestly, that's the album really, in my opinion, where Brian May really shines too. Also, some of those guitar riffs on the album are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite album of theirs. I would say if there's a 1A, 1B, then obviously Night of the Opera would be the 1B. But gun to my head, you asked me if my favorite Queen album it's an Innuendo.
Yeah, they went on a bang on that record in terms of like Freddie went out with a bang on that record. The whole group really. You have songs like the title track. You got Headlong. You got I'm Going Slightly Mad. Yep. These Are the Days of Our Lives. And then my favorite song on the album, which is the closing song, The Show Must Go On.
Yep.
It sounded like that was his last breath. It was like Freddie died after that song was over, right. Like, because there was nothing left to give. It was just, great pick, man. Great pick.
Yeah. So good job, Chris. Not taking my pick.
You're welcome.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. All right. Round number 6, Matt. Where we at?
All right. Well, since I mentioned it already, I'm gonna say Dookie by 1994 by Green Day.
That was on the list. That was on the list.
Yeah. Since I jumped the gun a little bit, I'll pick that one. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a great record. You know, first of all, it's coming off the back of Kerplunk, which is like which is a lot of fans' favorites. But then you have just, great, production. It's got the spirit and the arrangement of punk music, or the execution of punk music, but it's got sort of the songwriting that is really pop adjacent. When you have songs like Longview, you have songs like Welcome to Paradise. One of my favorite Green Day songs of all time, which is When I Come Around. Yep. I just love that.
Yep.
Just when I come around. So I picked that one. I mean, 10 million records too. I mean, come on. Yeah. I feel bad that they couldn't go back to their old haunts after that. Because a lot of people thought they had sold out, but that's what you're supposed to do when you're an act. You go to the marquee and it says Green Day tickets sold out. That's what you want, whether you're a punk artist or whether you're a pop artist. So all that sellout stuff, people need to cut that out.
Yeah. So Dookie came out in '94. I was 14. That's when I started my transition from. That's when I started really my first main transition out of like not just listen to pop music all the time and hip hop and R&B, but like. So I always credit Michael Jackson for being the first artist that, and Prince too, for being my first as a young black boy living in Brooklyn, New York, into like seeing rock music, and then there are certain bands that got me there. Green Day was probably one of the first bands that got me there, into eventually when I got into metal, because I didn't just go from like pop to metal like that. It took a couple. There's a process, and Dookie was part of that bridge for me. Before I got to eventually 2 years later to Metallica and all those other bands I love now, dearly. So Dookie has a very special place in my heart. Years later, 30 years. This album's 30 years old. Can you believe that? 30 years old.
Yeah, 30 years old.
And they're still around.
Yep.
And still touring regularly. So that Dookie is one of my better albums. One of the most impactful albums of my life, definitely. So all right, Chris, 6th pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go out in left field on this one. I'm gonna pick Lewis Taylor by Lewis Taylor.
That's a great pick, man.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'll be honest, I don't know who he is. I know what.
Bro, yeah,
he's a singer.
So I'm about to put you on game. So it's neo soul and psychedelic funk mixed. So imagine like D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, but instead. Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It's more in the D'Angelo vein, but okay. It's blue-eyed soul.
I'll enjoy that.
Lewis Taylor is from the UK. He made this album in the wake of a breakup with his girlfriend at the time. It's everything that Beyonce's Lemonade pretended to be. So I said that. I'm gonna take it there. It's a true breakup album. And it's a super dope album. Like some of my favorite songs on there are Bittersweet, Better Love, Damn. There's so many great songs on this album. If you know, like if you've heard this album, you know how good it is. So it's it's kind of out in left field. A lot of people don't know about it, but it came out in '96, and he's Lewis Taylor is a dope, multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, all the things. So. Definitely give it a listen if you've never heard it.
His voice has a tinge of Marvin in terms of just some of the inflections that he makes at the end of his phrasings. Yeah. But that's a very nice dark horse pick, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love the Marvin Gaye comparison because he does sound like a tortured soul in some songs for sure.
All right, with my 6th pick, I'm gonna steal an idea that Chris had on our 1980s draft show.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to take the soundtrack. Well, I believe it's the greatest soundtrack in the history of music, in my opinion.
Oh, don't take it.
Which one is it? You tell me.
I think he's
Oh, if you say Forrest Gump, I'm gonna be dadgummit.
Forrest Gump soundtrack, baby.
Had it picked.
Yeah,
I had it teed up.
It is the greatest soundtrack in the history of music.
It's a double album too. It's a double album too.
You got it.
It has first off, the fact that the history of that the movie, following the movie, it goes through decades and decades, and I'm a history buff and all that, and they find the right songs that hit the right tune and all that. It is by far, to me, the most impactful and my favorite soundtrack in the history of music. That is a A+++ soundtrack.
I was about to say, like that's the cheat code for soundtracks.
Yeah,
it's a cheat code.
I mean, it's kind of easy too at the same time, because obviously you're going through like different time eras and whatnot, but they find the right songs that work for each scene and this and that. And first, I'm a big Forrest Gump fan anyway in general.
Right.
But the soundtrack, I mean, from Elvis to, the Birds. Yes, you name it. Every iconic, or even some one-hit wonders from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, whatever, you can it hits a chord every single time.
And that's something that drives me nuts about a lot of movies nowadays, is like they randomly put songs and trailers in movies that really have no business being there. It's just there to be like, oh, I remember that song. It doesn't fit the movie, but like you said, the great thing about the soundtrack is that it fits the context of the story that's being told in the movie.
Absolutely.
Like you said, cherry picks the best from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So
Simon Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, you name it. The Birds, Willie Nelson's on there, Gladys Knight's down there.
Yeah, Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin's on there. It's like, you're done.
When I play that soundtrack, even today, and another soundtrack's 30 years old, I'm in another world. Yeah, I'm in another world. So it hits right chord. So I stole that from you, because I know last episode you had a soundtrack on your 80s episode. I
think it was Dirty Dancing as well.
It was Dirty Dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great pick. So so I stole your.
And you picked the Batman soundtrack too, Chris.
I did pick Batman.
But you said it's an album though, Matt. You said it's an album.
It isn't. No. When it is though, but Batman is a soundtrack that is original music. Forrest Gump is a compilation of pre-recorded music, which is the same thing. But I love the Forrest Gump soundtrack. It's a double album. Every time I hear "Hey Joe" by Jimi Hendrix Experience, I picture Forrest Gump jumping across the table and whooping that dude's ass after he smacked Jenny. Every single time I hear, I gave it a gun, I shot her, boom, boom, boom. I'm sorry, I messed up your Black Panther party.
Yeah, I love that. I'm sorry I started fighting in your Black Panther party.
Yes, I love
it's
that.
So funny. So great.
That movie is just go.
Great pick, man. Yeah, like that. That's you got it. That's a cheat code. You got it.
Yo, hey, don't steal Mike. Hey, you stole Mike also too, man. So you know. Yeah, there you go. So all right, round 7. Matt, go ahead.
Okay. Wow, I have a lot to choose from here. There's so many great albums that came out. But I am going to go with 1993's Enter the Wu 36 Chambers by the Wu-Tang Clan.
Great pick.
Yes, the debut album of the 9 cats from Staten Island, the RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, You God, Raekwon the Chef, Master Killer, Ghostface Killer,
ODB,
and METHOD Man, right. The Method Man.
ODB wasn't part of the group, though, was he? Official member?
No, he was. It's Capadonna who came on later, okay. But ODB, because ODB is on is on a bunch of records on that album. I mean, he's on Protect Your Neck. He's on everything. He's all over that record. But man, when I tell you that classics after classics after classics on a debut record like this, whether it's Method Man, whether it's Tears, whether it's Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to F With, whether it's Shame on a Nigga, whether it's Can It Be So Simple, Cream. I mean, it's just you can't, oh man, I can't say too much. And then the whole amalgamation of soul samples, jazz samples with kung fu movies and kung fu philosophy, mathematics. Man, it's such a different record. It's so rough and rugged and dirty in terms of the production, but it's so intelligent and intellectual and esoteric all at the same time. If you read Raekwon's memoir that came out a couple years ago, it's all his first few bars in Cream are encapsulate that entire memoir. Mm-hmm. I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. You know, mom left on old man, and then we moved to Shadowland, the young youth rocking a gold tooth. It's all just in those 4 bars, 6 bars, his whole life, and it's just so great. Inspect the Deck, man. You know, swinging through your town like the neighborhood Spider-Man. It's just yo. And then
and I gotta say too, also, like, I mean, Matthew, you and I are close to the same age. I'm a little older. 1993 hip hop. You know, this album came out of nowhere. It was a fresh sound too, also, especially very fresh.
Nothing like it. The only thing that was even remotely close to that, in my opinion, was the year before, the remix of Scenario by A Tribe Called Quest. That's the closest that comes to that rough, rugged, really thumping sound with those aggressive rhyming styles. That's the closest thing that I can call that predates what we got with Wu-Tang.
Right. Yeah, Matthew, I'm glad you brought up the production and how RZA mixed in like martial arts films and things like that. Because ever since that album, I consider him the Quentin Tarantino of hip hop, because like he really changed the way that we listen to music now. Like, you know, pulling from different elements and creating something that's brand new, but it sounds familiar at the same time. So like he's painting a picture in your mind as you listen to the music. So
that's a great comp, actually. That's a great comp.
RZA is the Quentin Tarantino of hip hop to me.
I like that. All right, what's your 7th pick, Chris?
My 7th pick, I'm gonna go with what I think is the best album by Outkast, Aquemini.
I like that. Man.
Yeah,
very good.
Was that their first album or the third album?
The third album.
That was their third album. The first, which I almost picked. I mean, their first 3 records. I mean, they're all in the '90s, and I'm tempted. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either or. But I think Aquemini is where they mastered their sound. You know, as far as like, you know, organized noise, you know, being a huge piece of that.
Yeah.
But man, like I have so many favorite songs on this album, and man, it's hard. Like, I mean, you got Rosa Parks, you got The Art of Storytelling, Part 1, Part 2. But I may have to go with Spotty Oddie Doppel. I can't.
Spotty Oddie Dopalicious.
Yeah, Dopalicious. Thank you. Yeah, I got tons of that. Is the coldest beat I've ever heard, man. And for
those horns, man.
Yeah, the horns. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, and even like how, you know, Andre and Big Boy, they approach the song so differently, but it fits like that. And that's something that blows my mind, is like they have like their styles are so unique, yet they blend so well. And for a song like that to be 7 minutes long, I never get tired of it. So
another song that's long.
Go ahead.
Another long song of that album that I love is Liberation. That's another really long song. CeeLo, Erykah Badu.
Yep.
Just a great record. And of course, the title track, some of the best rapping you'll ever hear. We talked about I talked about how Raekwon encapsulated his whole life in a few bars on Cream. That Andre and Antoine, Big Boy, both do that in their second verses, or verses 3 and 4 on Aquemini. When Big Boy said the name is Big Boy, Daddy Fat Sacks, and nigga like them Cadillacs, we stay down for these streets because these streets is where our folks at. Some play we pro-black, but be professional. We miss a lot of church, so the music is our confessional. That is Outkast. And then you get to Andre 3 Stacks. My mind warps and bends, close the wind, count to 10, keep the twin Andre Ben, welcomes to the lion's den. You know what I'm saying? It's excellent pick.
It is sick.
Totally.
And I gotta say too, also, you know, I was thinking about this right now too. Also, in that genre, especially too, I would take their catalog against any group or solo artist in that genre. They might have the most well-rounded. They might have the best discography in history of hip hop.
No, I totally co-sign that. They don't have a bad album.
Who do you put in the conversation? Who is someone you put in the conversation?
To me, De La Soul's the only one that comes
De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest.
But how big is Tribe Called Quest's catalog though? How many albums they did?
They've done
like
7 or 8.
Okay.
No, because
I
there's
think it's fine. So you got People's Instinct Travels and Paths of Rhythm.
Yeah, they have 6.
Theory, Midnight Marauders, Beats Rhymes, and
Life.
then,
but I would say
the Love Movement, and then we got from here, so they have 6.
But I would say in terms of mainstream success, in terms of like just popularity, every Outkast album has been, for the most part, like at above average. In terms of critical success, every single one has gotten.
Idlewild didn't get much love.
Yeah, it didn't get much love, but it's not a bad record by any means.
It's not a bad record.
Right.
But if we're talking about like just sales, the only person that compares is Missy Elliott. I mean, she had 6 consecutive platinum records, so she's the only one that's even in that
conversation.
But no, I like the argument though, because I mean, like their discography is near
nasty.
Perfect. Yeah, it's near perfect.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But to say like for anybody in hip hop, like I don't know.
No, I agree with EJ. I don't think there's anybody. I think De La Soul and Tribe are the only ones that are even remotely close in terms of just having really tight discographies.
Right.
Okay.
Alrighty. All right. My pick now. My 7th pick. I'm gonna go back into my metal bag. I'm gonna pick one of my 5 favorite bands of all time. This album, in the metal genre, is one of the most consequential albums in the genre in terms of influence. I'm gonna take Fear Factory, Demanufacture. Demanufacture, to me, like they had like a metal industrial sound, but that sound was very influential in terms of what was to come for new metal down the road. Like it's came out in '95 for the record. This was their second album actually, and they are one of my 5 favorite bands of all time. So I've seen this band probably about 8 or 9 times live. Obviously one of the most unstable bands of all time because they also, in terms of the member lineup changes and the singer's not in the band anymore and the rights are all held by the guitar player Dino and all that stuff. It's very tragic in terms of that. But in terms of impact in metal, this album is, I would say, if someone asked me, give me the 5 most biggest. Say someone wants to get into metal. They don't know what album to go to. Give me 5 albums to listen to. This would be one of the 5 albums I would recommend. So, Demanufacture for me at my 7th pick. So,
question for you: since I'm not familiar with them, would you say that album is a good entry point, or would you recommend something else for someone?
Absolutely, without question. This one or Obsolete would be the great entry point.
All right.
Which is also on the list here too, also 98. So, but yeah, this album was this would be what Master of Puppets was to Metallica. Let's put that. Put that.
Okay. That's high praise. Yeah, that's high praise.
It's like Michael's Thriller, same thing. So, all right, round 8. What are we doing here, Matt? Round 8.
Okay, for round 8. Okay. All right. So, man, there's so many good ones. All right.
That's why 20 rounds. That's why it's 20 rounds. It's too much on the table.
All right. I'm gonna pick 1991's "Diamonds and Pearls" by Prince.
Okay.
So close.
Wait, you have another Prince record on the list there, Mr. Lacy?
I'm gonna let Matthew have the floor. I'll save mine.
He's gonna. There's a few. Look, people like crucify Prince's '90s catalog, much like they did to Stevie Wonder's '80s catalog. But man, Diamonds and Pearls. It's the biggest selling. It's his biggest selling album of that decade. It was seen as his, quote unquote, commercial renaissance after the sort of lackluster Graffiti Bridge, which came out the year before, which isn't, a cohesive album. It's very uneven, but Diamonds and Pearls is great. It's really it's the true coming out party of his band, the New Power Generation, even though they're very much in tow on Graffiti Bridge the year before, but they have a lot of input on the composition of this record.
Yeah.
There's some, come on, Diamonds and Pearls is one of the best Prince ballads of all time. If it came out today, it would be number one forever.
It is my favorite song of his of all time. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
For me, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great song.
Beautiful song.
Beautifully written song. You have Get Off, which is just a typical Prince, like mind blown, like I can't believe what I'm hearing sort of song. Just the combination of the melody of the electric guitar, the flute, he's singing and rapping on this. It's so much attitude. There's so much stank, so much problematic, lyricism. You got Cream, his 5th and final #1 Billboard Hot 100 single. Then you have songs like Thunder, which, he's back into his religious bag. You have Insatiable, another, nasty, sexy slow jam. But then you have a song like Money Don't Matter Tonight, which is, an indictment on,
song.
Homelessness and poverty and food insecurity. It's just, it's a great, just crossover Prince record that you can't really find fault with. And the Super Deluxe Edition box set, not as good as Sign of the Times, but
I was about to say,
damn it, it's good.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because you hit on 2 of the points I was going to hit. Money Don't Matter Tonight, to me, best song on the album, and it's his Sign of the Times of the 1990s. Like that is his, like it's a masterclass on economic storytelling as well. Like he's such a great storyteller. Like he could say so much within a little bit of space, and he does a great job with that. The line where he says, I forget the first part of it, but he says, in a cloud of gas, like talking about how, people are dying, due to war and things like that. Like that just painted a vivid picture in my mind. And then you brought up the Super Deluxe set, which I ended up getting his live at Glam Slam show. Crazy. 10 out of 10 show. Like master musician, showman, all of it. Like he's super dope. Super dope.
Excellent concert.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, which is 8th pick?
All right. I'm so glad you picked Diamonds and Pearls because I'm going with the Gold Experience. That to me is his best album in the 1990s. A lot of people get caught up in the, Prince versus Warner Brothers thing, which I totally get, him writing Slave on his face. And I think what's sad is that people are at that time and even a little bit now, people misunderstand the stance that Prince took, when it comes to owning your catalog. Like if you don't own your masters own you. Like that was his, that was his ideology at the time. But what the common phrase that, a lot of us writers have seen, this is his best since Sign of the Times. To me, Gold Experience is the one album that is sufficient for that statement. So, there's so many great songs on this album. A lot of people love Peak Control. I think it's okay. I love Endorphin Machine. I love Shush, Dolphin, Shy, Billy Jack Bitch, I Hate You, Gold. There's so many great songs on this album. But I would probably say my favorite is probably Dolphin. That's probably my favorite song on the record.
I'd probably say my favorite is I Hate You. I Hate You is another great song. And then, of course, here's my thing about Gold. I think Gold would have done so much better as the follow-up to the Love Symbol album. Instead of, because you have to remember, after Love Symbol album, you have Come, which he did not really, endorse in terms of the marketing. Then after that is the Black album, which he was shelved from '87 that he put out to fulfill a contractual obligation. But what people don't remember is that before Come even came out, he released on his own label The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, which is on Gold. If he would have followed up that single with Gold, because he submitted the Gold Experience and Come to Warner Brothers simultaneously, but they put Come out first. If they would have put Gold out first, then it would have rode that wave that was coming from Diamonds and Pearls and Love Symbol album.
Yeah. And I think the song Gold would have been more successful if Prince hyped it up too much, saying like, this is my Purple Rain. Like, this is the next Purple Rain. I'm like, had he not done that, I think the song could have been better. But I think people went into it thinking like, okay, is it on that level? And I think a lot of people walked away from it disappointed.
I wish people wouldn't do that, whether it's the artists or the record labels. I hate it when people prop something up as something from the past. It almost never lives up to the hype.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, that's fair.
All right, my 8th pick is gonna. I'm really surprised none of you guys have picked this album at all. I'm really surprised. I'm going to take 1996. I'm gonna go stay hip hop. This is probably arguably the biggest hip hop album of the decade, arguably in terms of popularity. I'm taking 1996, The Score by the Fugees.
I had that selected as my next pick.
This album was
that was in my list.
Great
huge. Look, they only released 2 albums. I mean, and the first one really didn't get any love. This one is the Fugees' legacy is all wrapped on this record, and this was a radio banger. Fuji La, I mean, Kill Me Softly, the cover, of course. There's so much here. I mean, this is my introduction, not to Lauryn Hill, but to Wyclef Jean, because I remember Lauryn Hill from Sister Rap before that. So, but yeah, this album is a beast. This album was huge. This owned radio 96, 97.
I want to give a quick shout out to the song Zealots because it samples one of my all-time favorite songs, I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos. It's a masterful sample. Absolutely love that song. Okay. Love how they flipped it.
All right.
Yeah. Zealous is one of those things that made people really see just how lethal of a MC that Lauryn was. She's got that's some of her best rapping is on Zealots.
I agree.
Yeah, Ready or Not also too. Oh my God, that cover. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. While you imitating Al Capone, I be Nina Simone and defecating on your microphone. Yo.
Hey.
Oh, so good.
Crazy.
She's so good. She's actually still underrated because we haven't gotten much material out of her. That's why in these years. So.
Yeah, nowadays, anytime you hear her name, it's because she's showing up to her concert 2 hours late, and people still showing up on time.
Or
somebody made a joke. Somebody made a joke because she's saying there's footage of her at her high school reunion, and she was singing songs at the reunion. And somebody said that's actually not true. That's Lauryn showing up for her actual high school graduation.
Oh God,
it's terrible, man. It's terrible. I mean, look.
Oh, really?
Look, Lauryn, to me, Lauryn's the best female rapper of all time. I mean, I think Missy Elliott's the greatest. I think Missy Elliott is the greatest hip hop artist with everything considered. Yeah. But in terms of just rapping and just being an MC, just rapping,
I'm not mad at that.
Lauryn, it's Lauryn to me. Like Lauryn,
she's certainly the most.
She can do it all.
She's certainly the most talented, without question.
For sure.
Yes, she's the most talented at the very least female MC of all time.
Yeah.
All right, round 9, Matt.
Okay, round 9. Oof. Yeah, this has been a good one so far. Wow. Okay, I said that. Okay, I'm gonna go with 1997's "Butterfly" by Mariah Carey.
Ooh, interesting.
Is that her 4th album or 3rd album?
It's her 5th album.
Yeah.
So
okay. 5. Yeah.
So it's her 5th. So you have the self-titled album, Emotions, Music Box, Daydream, and then
Daydream is the one for them. Okay, thank you. This is coming 97, right? 97.
Yeah. 97. So you have Honey, which is like a great popular single. I loved the video when it came out. It was very much part of my, formative years.
Spoken like a man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, one of those videos you can watch with the sound on or off. I'll just put it that way. But just with all that aside, you have Honey, you have Underneath the Stars, you have 4th of July, you have a great cover of Prince's The Beautiful Ones with Cisco from Drew Hill. You have Baby Doll, which is a very, very sexy song, co-written by Missy Elliott. And then you have My All, one of her biggest, most impressive, just torch ballads, #1 hits. You have, of course, Breakdown with Bone Thugs and Harmony, which is very, very much a departure for her, but still worked. And then you have what I think is her best vocal performance on wax of her entire career, the title track, Butterfly. The back half of that, she sang like she was going to the electric chair. She let it all out on the last half of that song. So to me, Butterfly is the perfect marriage of the hip hop direction that she'd already been headed in with Daydream, and then went super into with like Emancipation of Mimi and other stuff after that, and then the big pop crossover songs from like, you know, Music Box and Emotion and things like that. It's the perfect marriage of those two meeting in the middle. It's her best album to me, and you know, it's yeah, no question.
Good pick.
All right, Chris, your ninth pick.
All right, so since you went Mariah Carey, I'm gonna have to go with the gorgeous Sade I Do. I'm gonna go with Love Deluxe.
Okay.
Go with that album. Yeah, man. So my first memory of MTV in general, because I was born in '90s, so this album came out in '92. I vividly remember seeing Sade as a mermaid underwater singing. I'm like, who is this? You know, I'm 2 years old. That is seriously the first memory I have of anything related to MTV was seeing her in No Ordinary Love, as the
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, as the mermaid. But man, again, it's for an album that only has 9 songs. There's all killer, no filler to me. But if I had to pick my favorite song on the album, it'd have to be "Cherish Today." "Cherish Today" is just a gorgeous, gorgeous song. Absolutely love it. And you know, as much, and I know we talked about this last episode, like, Strong in the Pride is my favorite Sade album, but Love Deluxe may be number 2 for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Love Deluxe is probably their most singular album. It's like the one album that doesn't sound like any of the ones before it or after it, in my opinion. One of my top 3 Sade songs is on that album, which is Kiss of Life.
Great song. Great song. So Matthew, I'm going to ask you, like, I've thought about what you said about it not sounding like anything other than what they had done before or since. Like, do you not get that from Lovers Rock?
Lovers Rock was also a departure, especially the lead single By Your Side. But there are songs on it that do kind of remind me a little bit of, it's kind of like a late 90s, early 2000s version of songs from Stronger Than Pride or The Promise to a certain degree.
Okay.
But my favorite song of all time by Sade is on Lovers Rock, which is King of Sorrow.
Great song. Great song. Yeah.
All right, my pick.
Right. Yeah,
ninth pick for me. I'm gonna stay in my rock genre here. Go maybe a little soft. No, actually, you know what? No. So last night I took him up actually. So no, going back to rock. I'm gonna take 1990, another album that again bridged me to metal. A band. I'm gonna take 1992's self-titled Rage Against the Machine debut album.
Ooh, good pick.
This album, another album that changed my life. Another album that was consequential in my young, I guess teenage years on the college. I discovered this band at 15 years old. Of course, Killing the Name Of is the biggest song, probably the biggest song of the entire catalog. Take the Power Back, on Bullet in the Head, Know Your Enemy. I mean, this album was so consequential, not because of the political stuff in it, but also because of the music and me, again, transitioning into a wider, not whiter, but wider scope of music out there that I can appreciate. And Rage is one of those bands, like Green Day was also too. Rage was another bridge to where I got later on. So, Self-Titled Rage Machine album. In fact, music had it in their top 100 albums as well too. So yeah, that impactful.
Man, yeah, great pick. I actually thought you were going to pick, and you may pick it. So I apologize if I'm stealing your thunder. I thought you were going to pick the Battle of Los Angeles because, like, Guerrilla Radio is probably my favorite song.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh yeah,
love that song. Shout out to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for putting me on that song, man.
Yeah. All right, round number 10, Matt.
Okay, so for round number 10, this is going to be a little shocking because this is a band that we probably should have mentioned at least once, and it's not an album that you would think if anybody else would have picked this album in this draft, they would have picked it already, but I'm actually going to pick another one.
I guarantee you're picking that band because I'm staring at it right now. Is it go ahead. Let me see if you're going to pick it.
Okay, it's Nirvana, but it's MTV Unplugged in New York City.
Oh, the Unplugged.
Good pick.
Yeah, to me, I mean, it's just, what can I say? I mean, they really showed how, first of all, they showed how great of songwriters that they are. And they showed how great of musicians they are. The fact that they could tone it down, be more restrained, but still have the great power and show their angst, especially in their cover of Leadbelly's Where Did You Sleep Last Night? Their cover of David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World, to me, is the definitive recording of that song. You have, the one representation of Nevermind, which is their live version of Come As You Are, which is tailor-made for that sort of environment. But to me, the best part of that album, aside from The Man Who Sold the World, is their unplugged version of All Apologies. I just love the way that it fades out at the end. Man, it's so beautiful. And then, and if you watch it, the aesthetic of them among the flowers and everything. Yeah. It's just, that's probably my favorite Nirvana project, just overall. I have a favorite Nirvana studio record, but my favorite Madonna project is MTV Live to New York City. So
and that must say that was his swan song, because he died 6 months later.
Yeah. So that's my pick. Yeah.
I like it. That was good. Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, your 10th pick now.
Oh man. Oh gosh, it pains me to say this because the name and the album come with so much baggage, but I have fond memories of it. R. Kelly's 12 Play.
Okay. So, man.
I know. Trust me.
R&B Voldemort.
I know. Seriously, yeah. I had to be the one to say it. But before all that stuff came to light about his personal demons, 12 Play made him to me, it made him the Marvin Gaye of the 1990s. I mean, that record was incredible. I mean, Your Body's Calling, Homie Lover Friend, It Seems Like You're Ready. And I get it. A lot of these song titles sound like, do you realize what you're saying right now? I get it. But a lot of these songs sound so good, even to this day.
They do.
And it's such a shame because he's such a gifted singer-songwriter, producer. He was the guy to go to, when it came to, hard-hitting R&B type stuff. So, especially sexy R&B as well. But again, personal demons aside, that to me is his best record. I have a lot of fond memories of it because I was in Puerto Rico at the time when it was at its peak.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, for me,
we're gonna go right on to the next one.
You're awkward. I know. For me, my 10th pick is going to be. I'm gonna come back to the Jackson family and get Janet Jackson some love here. Her Janet album. That's the way love goes.
I was torn, man. I started to go with that one.
My favorite era of hers in terms of how she looks. God, I fell in love with her. The Again video. Oh yes, my God! And you remember too, I'm 13 years old. I'm feeling things I never felt before in my life, and this comes out now. What is going on here? You know what I'm saying? I'm already a massive Michael Jackson, and I got to do a Janet now. What's going on here now?
Yeah.
So, that she wasn't a massive. That album was great though. That album was definitely a mature album in ways of the sound. Obviously, you have Control and what they did in '86, and then obviously Rhythm Nation was sonically one of it defined the late '80s and that sound. But then she goes into this more mature, sensual, and not just visually but musically too also, and it just blended well, Yeah. And it was well accepted too. I mean, that was the era of the album cover of her with the boobs being covered up by some guy. Again, this is why I always say Madonna crawl so Janet can run, because when Madonna was doing this stuff back before her, it was she's a slut, she's a hoe. Janet does it was more classy.
Yeah. So a few shout outs on some songs on this album that I absolutely love. Anytime, Any Place, the sexiest song I've ever heard.
Oh hell yeah.
Love that
song. I can't listen to that song or watch the video because I just nasty things will happen. Can't do it. It's the most sexually triggering song that I've ever heard.
The video too.
In my life. I can't. No, don't. The video it's too good. It's too good. I cannot. To me, it's better than Thriller for all the wrong reasons.
Matthew, you are a man of the people, man. I appreciate you.
No,
another.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah,
no, I was saying for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, another song that I love on this album. It's underrated in my mind, but to me, it's one of one of the most joyful songs on the album. Is "Funky Big Band." Love just that feel of it. Like it kind of has the spirit of All Right with that Cab Calloway kind of feel to it, but then it updates it for the 1990s and New Jack Swing. So I love that. And let's see, and then You Want This. I mean, shoot, I saw her perform. Like she briefly performed that song when my girlfriend and I went to go see her in Charlotte. And let me tell y'all something. Like for her to be almost 60, like she's outperforming a lot of these people.
A lot.
I met her last month.
I know. Yeah, you did.
And she does not look 58 years old.
Stunning.
Now. Okay.
Absolutely stunning.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm actually watching the video in the background here because I forgot the video. And yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes.
So, because the Again video was that way for me, but that's a little more calm and sensual. This is hardcore.
No, it is hardcore.
Holy shit!
I cannot.
But this is also, and again, I know we bring up Michael a lot on this podcast, but it shows you the influence of Michael Jackson's music and art throughout the entire eras of the 80s and 90s. This is Janet also going in a direction to stand out from Michael. Mm-hmm. Michael was at this point in his career was now not just the biggest artist celebrity in the world. He was also a worldwide ambassador.
Yeah,
Janet had to find ways to stay if she wanted to, not necessarily to be relevant, but for her to stand out. This is a way to be sexual.
That's what she did, and that's what she did with the album title. Because the album title is Janet. Period. Right. Yep, because she's cutting off like I'm just Janet. Like I'm detaching the Jackson thing because now people will see me as me, not as Michael and Tito and Jackie and Jermaine and Marlon's little sister. I am Janet, and I'm now separated.
It's understandable why Janet in the 90s was probably a little more popular than Michael, because at least in America, because of this. Because as males, we see this like, oh my god,
yeah. And then to Matthew's point about the mission statement of that album, not only did she do that musically, she did it with acting, with poetic justice and things like that. Like she was clearly trying to define herself of like, hey, I'm grateful for my family and the legacy that we created, but I'm my own thing.
Let me tell you, Michael, she was doing things that Michael was what a dream was doing. Michael was talking about making movies all these years, and Jenna's done it.
Yeah,
gotta give her credit. She's done things in ways to stand out for her own, and I'm really proud of her for that. Honestly,
Real quick before we move on to you, one of my all-time favorites Janet songs on that album, and that's Because of Love. That's another great funky Jam and Lewis thing. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's a great song. All right,
go ahead.
Round 11, Matt.
Okay. All right. So round 11. So you took Janet from me. I already had Janet, so it's all good.
You took Mike, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? You keep history. I'll keep the sexy ass Anthony.
But I got Rope Burn, and so there you go.
That's true. That's true.
I get Lonely Video, which is all right. So okay, I can go a lot of places on this one. Wow, there's a lot of great albums that's the hard part. Talks about. It's really, really hard. I'm gonna go with wow. Oh my goodness gracious! There's so much. I'm gonna go with older George Michael, 1996.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one. I like
good
that.
Good pick.
It's my favorite George Michael album. It's to me, it's his best. It's him at his absolute finest. His singing is still top notch. His songwriting reached a whole new level. He moved. On Listen Without Prejudice, which is another brilliant album. He was trying to sort of say, I'm not stealing black music, and kind of went out of his way to make the music sound not so quote unquote R&B, use a lot of R&B cliches, as he was saying, or turn R&B cliches on their head. With this album, he reincorporated R&B and hip hop in a more organic way, with songs like Star People, with songs like Fast Love, with the great interpolation of Forget Me Nots by Patrice Rushen. But then you have, Older, and you have To Be Forgiven. You have, to me, the finest song he's ever written, which is the opening track, Jesus to a Child, which, talks very much about the grieving he did for his first lover in Semlo, who passed away of a brain hemorrhage brought on by AIDS in a few years before. The lyrics on that are so devastating. His vocal performance on it is so understated, but yet really poignant. It's so hopeful, but yet bitter, sweet. This is just a masterful album in terms of his as a producer. And that's my pick.
I like that pick. I like it a lot. Very underrated album in his discography.
Very underrated. I mean, the fact that it had 2 top 10 singles and it only sold 2 million copies in the U.S. after he'd been gone all that time. It should have been a bigger hit in the United States, but it was a hit in my house. And another excellent super deluxe box set.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what's your 11th pick here?
Man, I'm so torn on which one to pick. They're both for the same artist, and these albums were released back to back, so there's really no wrong answer here. But I'm gonna go with Me Against the World, Tupac.
That's interesting. I'm about to go there next.
Okay. Yeah. Again, so I would say that All Eyes on Me, like I have more memories with that album, but when I'm looking at what I think is his best, I think Me Against the World is probably his best album from top to bottom.
I agree.
On the strength of Dear Mama alone, that's enough to make me want to be like, hey, let me give it up. And if nobody's seen the documentary on Hulu, Dear Mama, please check it out. It's such a great documentary on him and his mother, explaining, why, they took such a radical stance when it came to the Black Panther movement and how it influenced how Tupac saw himself as a man and as an artist. And then you've also got Temptation, So Many Tears, which, man, I absolutely love that song. And then Me Against the World, the title track, I remember hearing that on Bad Boys, the first one. So like that album just takes me back to 95. And it's very nostalgic for me. But yeah, if I had to say his best record from top to bottom, I would say Me Against the World, no doubt.
Well, I would agree.
Right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pick I had All Eyes on Me as my next pick, as my pick anyway for this round, which is perfect. So yeah, that one. I'm a late blooming Tupac fan. Not so much now, but more so growing up in a more conservative, household. Back then, Tupac was someone I really misunderstood as I got older. Obviously, he was a rebel and all that, and as a kid, I did not have the sense to understand why he did what he did, what all that. Obviously, in hindsight, fucking genius, obviously. But this album, I will say that I did buy this album though, even at 16 years old. Wow. My favorite song on there is "Put Me Rolling." Love that song. Probably my favorite Tupac song of all time. Keeping it real. The Passion. You have let me see. Holla at Me, California Love, obviously the big hit on there.
Yep. I Ain't Mad at You.
Yep. To America's Most Wanted. To America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
You
my mom's favorite. To America's Most Wanted is my mom's favorite Tupac song. She loves that. Yeah,
Tupac is again. He was someone I appreciated after he passed away.
Yeah,
I truly we can understand him after the fact because I kind of got in, not heavily obviously, but back then in the mid '90s I got a little bit into the East West bullshit because I'm a New Yorker, so I'm gonna always be protective of the place I'm from. But in hindsight, it's a silly thing. Number one, number two. Let's keep it real. Outside of Biggie, and maybe a couple other artists here and there, in the war, who was putting out better music? Really, the West was doing. The West was doing not just Tupac, but Warren G, Snoop Dogg. Dre's early stuff. Yeah. They were putting out probably better music as a whole, as a unit than City East was.
That's
Yeah,
because the East got complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, really, outside of Biggie, you had Mace, Lil Kim,
I mean, which is fine, but they weren't putting out I feel like the quality of music, especially as I got older, to appreciate more as a musical, not just as like words, but more as a musical.
Mm-hmm.
The West was doing some good stuff, man. I learned to appreciate that years later, getting out of that whole East West bullshit. So
yeah, and as a Prince fan, real quick, I appreciate how Tupac was able to sample Prince on a few songs. Hearts of Men has the Darling Nikki sample.
Nice.
What's your phone number is 777-9311. I appreciate
I love that song, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Like, that's probably my favorite time song.
Yep.
Period. But I love the fact that Tupac accomplished as much as he did, in 25 short years of life. I mean, he's still an icon to this day. So salute to him.
Absolutely. All right, round number 12. I'm glad we're going 20 rounds because honestly, there's no way in hell we can do this in just 10 rounds. No way in hell.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, round 12, Matt.
All right, this one is an album I never thought I would pick, but it's an undeniable album. That is 1995's Cracked Rearview Mirror by Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh my God, it's on the list! I had it on the list! I was going to pick that in the next couple rounds.
Listen, that means so much to me as a guy from South Carolina, a Gamecock fan, because Darius is a Gamecock fan. I appreciate that. That's a good pick.
You're a Gamecock fan?
Oh, big time, man. Big time.
I mean, I don't have anything against you as C. I mean,
look, they were, when I was in middle school, it was literally, it was them and Blues Traveler. That was all I heard for like a whole school year.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, the Diamond album, you have, Hold My Hand, Let Her Cry, I Want to Be With You, Time. It's just like such just gigantic songs, and it's just like basically, a bar band, garage band done good. But it's just sometimes it's just that simple. Yeah. When I hear songs like Let Her Cry, it's just like, wow, man. Like, just like, she went in the back to get high. I sat down on my couch and cried, yelling, "Oh, mama, please help me!" I literally never think about that album, but yet I can call every word of those songs at a moment's notice. I want to love you the best that I can. So yeah, that's my pick.
So it's funny because like this album came out when I was 15 years old, and I was too cool for school to like Hootie, to appreciate Hootie Blowfish, because they were all over radio in '95. All over Top Boy Radio. All those songs was all over played. So I was not that I wasn't a fan of theirs. But and I knew they were good songs, but I was so sick of them pretty early. As I got older, that's a phenomenal record, amazing record, and it's on my list. I was literally gonna pick that next 2 rounds, and you stole from me again. So good job. But Darius Rucker is one of my favorite voices in history of music. Yeah, I love his voice,
and it's held up so well over the years.
It really has. This album really has held up very well. I love the pick. I would have taken the next round or two. So, but you did it, man. So, but yeah, there's another band that growing up, too cool for school at first. You get older, you mature, you understand. Oh, wait, this is great music. You should appreciate this stuff. So, there you go. All right, Chris, your 12th pick.
Man, I'm trying to think.
We're an hour and a half. We're an hour and a half in this damn thing. Look at this.
I know. Yeah. There's quite. I'm like you, Matthew. Like, there's still quite a few albums I could pick, and I'm trying to think of what I need to pick to make sure nobody else takes it. I'm gonna go with. I actually haven't said this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I doubt either one of y'all would say it, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go with the Lion King soundtrack. 1994.
Oh no! Dude, that's a good one.
Okay.
One of the greatest opening scenes of a Disney movie of all time.
Absolutely.
Without question.
Absolutely.
Without
I mean,
question.
like what Elton John, Tim Rice, Hans Zimmer, I mean, like they crushed it. They absolutely crushed it for a soundtrack. Like to me, it still sets the bar of what a Disney soundtrack should aspire to be. I know a lot of folks will be like, oh, well, I like this soundtrack more than Lion King. I'm like, but it ain't the Lion King. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't see anybody like a few years ago, there was a clip of the Broadway singers and stuff. Like they were on a plane and they were singing it and it went viral. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't say that about any other Disney soundtrack. I mean, it's that iconic. And shout out to Jason Weaver, who played Little Michael Jackson in The American Dream. He also sings "I Just Can't Wait to Be King." You know, so and then Jeremy Irons, "Be Prepared." I mean, he sounds phenomenal.
Prepared.
Yeah, like he sounds phenomenal doing that. So like that's the thing. Like you can say the names of these songs and people know exactly what it sounds like. They know exactly where they were when they heard it. So to me, greatest Disney soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Oscar winning also.
Yeah, Oscar winning as well.
I would co-sign on that, definitely on that.
Yep.
All right, for me, okay, my 12th pick. I'm gonna go back to my melon bag rather. I'm gonna go to another top 5 band for all time, and a band I just saw play live 5 days ago, and that's Megadeth's "Rust in Peace." This is also their master of puppets. They're big, you know. Oh my God. Okay, they're here. They're here for a long term. This album, obviously the have Hanger Team, but Holy Wars to me probably their best song in the entire catalog on here. They close the show out on Saturday with that song. Phenomenal. Dave Mustaine to me, I've said it. You probably saw me posted on social media all weekend long. To me, I've said it for decades. I'll say it now in 2024. Dave Mustaine is the greatest metal guitar player in the history of the genre. Fight me on that. I don't give a damn about it says. He is the greatest guitar player in the history of the genre. Okay. You know, it's funny because he was in Metallica. You know, early days before the first album, and they kicked him out. And I've always wondered what would they be like if Mustaine was in the band still. It never worked out because James and Dave were the two like alpha males. It's not going to work out. But I'm glad he got kicked out because we now got Megadeth, and Megadeth has a phenomenal discography. They'll be 40 years into the game next year. Rust in Peace is, again, we talk about top 5. If someone flies down, hey, EJ, I want to get a medal. Give me 5 albums. This is one of the 5 albums I'm recommending. Rust in Peace. So, yeah.
Good pick. Good pick.
Yep. All right, 13th pick for you. 13th round. Matt, what do you got?
Okay. I'm going to go back to no. Yeah, I'm gonna get into my neo soul bag. You know, since I'm writing a book about neo soul, shameless plug. Nice. Yeah. So so I'm gonna pick 1995's "Brown Sugar" by D'Angelo.
Great pick.
I like that.
Great pick.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a bigger fan of Voodoo though, but great Robin nonetheless.
Yeah, Voodoo was in 2000. It was supposed to come out in 1999, but it came out in January of 2000.
Let me tell you though, if Voodoo came out in 99, that is getting picked in the first 5 rounds for me. So right now.
Absolutely. I absolutely would have picked it in the first 5 rounds if it came out in 1990s. But Brown Sugar to me is an excellent record, an excellent debut. You know, in the book that I'm writing now, I'm talking about how, you know, people like Jay Dilla was like the bridge from, you know, the native tongues into the Soulquarians, which D'Angelo was a part of. But even though Jay Dilla didn't meet D'Angelo at this point, he was working with Ali Shaheed Muhammad on that album from Tribe Called Quest. He was working with Bob Power, who produced and engineered for a lot of those pivotal records for De La Soul, for Jungle Brothers, for A Tribe Called Quest, and for who I deem to be the very first neo soul artists of the modern era, Michelle and Diggy Ocello. So with Brown Sugar, you know, another just 10 songs, all killer, no filler. You know, you have Brown Sugar, you know, his thinly veiled ode to marijuana. You have songs like Shit Damn Motherfucker, which is a bluesy storytelling song. Ron Carter was actually supposed to play bass on that too, but he didn't do it because of the cursing, only for me to find out a year or two ago that Ron Carter does curse in his regular life, which is strange to me, but whatever. But
I never knew that. Never knew that.
Yeah, that was the reason. Actually, he told Q-Tip he had to censor verses from the abstract in order to play on the Low End Theory. Wow. And he booked the session to play on Brown Sugar, but when he realized that Shit Damn Motherfucker was the title, he dropped out. But like I said, I've heard Ron Carter use the F word in the last 5 years several times. I'm like, huh? But whatever. So, but here's my thing. I mean, I guess it's the difference between being 50 and being 80, but semantics. But then you have songs like, his version of Cruisin' by Smokey Robinson, which to me is just as good. A lot of people might think it's even better. You have Lady, his biggest hit of his career in terms of chart success. His first collaboration with Raphael Sadiq, who obviously also co-wrote Untitled on the next album. You have Higher. All three of his albums, the best song on the album is The Closer. Another Life is the best song on Black Messiah. Africa is the best song on Voodoo, and to me, Higher is the best song on Brown Sugar. It's the most it's the most gospel influenced in terms of like wearing its influence on his sleeve in terms of gospel that he's done. Especially a guy from Richmond, Virginia, who is very much from a Pentecostal background, who was very heavily influenced by gospel quartets. So. Yeah, Brown Sugar is an excellent, excellent album.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And quick shout out to Raphael Sadiq for producing the title track. I mean, like, to me, Raphael is one of the more unsung heroes of Black music. And it's sad because he's such a gifted performer.
Yeah, he is. All right, Chris, your 13th pick.
All right, I'm going to go with another soundtrack. And if you were outside, you know why I'm picking this. The Space Jam soundtrack was crazy. Crazy album, man. Like, you had Fly Like an Eagle, which was a cover by Seal.
Great pick, man.
Title track, Space Jam. You know what time it is. Like, if you heard that, like, you instantly think of Michael Jordan, Looney Tunes, all the things. I Believe I Can Fly. That's all I'm gonna say. But I will say, to me, this song had no business going as hard as it did. The Hit 'Em High Monstars anthem. Like
oh yeah, time, love that song.
LL Cool J, Method Man, it's a wrap, bro. Like that album really has no business being as good as it is. So Space Jam soundtrack, if you were outside, you know what I'm talking about.
Every time I hear the title track, I get pumped up. Like when I saw the movie in the theater, and when they played the title track in the opening credits, and it's just that song with the Michael Jordan highlights from high school to college to the Olympics to the Chicago Bulls, I get so amped up. It's so great. And of course, I mentioned D'Angelo, my last pick. D'Angelo's You Found My Smile Again is on there, which is one of the only time that because he's contributed to a lot of soundtracks in the 90s. It's the only soundtrack he contributed to that he gave an original song. All the other ones were covers. So yeah, he did.
That's right. Because I started to say Scream 2, but She's Always in My Hair.
She's Always in My Hair is Scream 2. He covered Girl, You Need to Change Your Mind for Get on the Bus. He did Heaven Must Be Like This for Down in the Delta. But Found My Smile Again is the only one that was original. And it's because Playa Playa, which is the first song, Voodoo, was the first song he wrote for it. That's why there's so many basketball references in Playa Playa. And he said, make your move, shoot your best shot. That's because he wrote it originally for Space Jam, but then he ended up doing I Found My Smile Again instead.
That's crazy. I didn't know
that.
But
yeah. And then, I Turn to You is on Monica. That by Monica. I think All for One did a version of that also.
Yeah. All for One. Yeah. I'm thinking of For You I Will is
that's also Monica. I Turn to You is For You I Will is Monica. I was thinking of I Turn to You, which came later. So I'm sorry, I got that wrong. For You I Will. No, you're good.
Yeah, that's All for One. And shout out to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They produced that for All for One.
All right, for me, my 13th pick is a pick that I know for a fact none of you two have on your list. I'm assuming. but it's actually one of my all-time favorite hip hop albums. Very underrated. He had a little moment. He was never that big, but this album is one of the first vinyls I ever owned. It is 1990's Legal by Special Ed.
Oh, you're right. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have it either, but dude, Special Ed was my cat. That's one of that. I loved that dude when I was a kid. Loved him.
Yes. He was one of the he's an old school guy too also. He was probably the last bastion of rappers from the 80s that had that same battle flow, because you get the 91 obviously. Now obviously we saw a little bit of that with NWA to some degree with the more gangster type of stuff. But especially I was more of an old school guy from the 80s, like more focused on the flow itself and whatnot. Battle rap, want to call that. Because once you get to 91, 1993, now we're in a whole different world when it comes to hip hop. And his stuff was not going to be as viable in that era because of that. But this album, to me, another album for me, if I tell you like top 10, 20 albums all the time that I love and my favorites, this is one of those albums too also. Again, first vinyl I ever owned, actual owned. I say Michael, but my mom gave me those at records, so it doesn't count. I actually bought this record. So yeah, this album still to this day I play for my kid. My oldest son loves hip hop. He likes all the crap that's out today. I can't stand it, so I'll play this for him just to kind of keep him a little balanced. You know what I mean? And he likes it. Yeah. It's just great. He does like it. He appreciates it. But yeah, this album was another game-changing album for me that impacted my life. So Legal by Special Ed.
Nice.
All right. Good round 14. Fight. Go ahead, man.
I am picking Title, Fiona Apple.
Wow, I did not have her on my list, man. My girlfriend.
Your girl will appreciate that, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, my girlfriend is a huge Fiona Apple fan.
Man, I mean, she's made some great music in her career. She's become more and more underrated as she's gone on, even though she's been very, very consistent in terms of the quality of her music. But man, this is a great record. And she was a teenager. She was 18 when this came out. And, you have songs like Shadow Boxer. You have songs, of course, Criminal, the big radio hit. And then you have my favorite song, which is Sleep to Dream. Just a excellent songwriter and a very underrated tactical piano player and a very distinctive intentional vocalist. So yeah, Title by Fiona Apple is my next pick.
That's a good one. I like it a lot. All right, 14th pick for you, Chris.
All right, I'm gonna go with more R&B pop type sound with this next pick. I'm gonna go with Crazy Sexy Cool, TLC.
That was on the list too. That was definitely on the list. That was
great album. Yeah, great album. I mean, it really put them on the map. I mean, not that the other albums didn't that they put out, or I think they only had one other.
Was before Crazy Sexy Cool was their second album.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the fact that I mean, like they really like became household names, with songs like Creep, Red Light Special, Waterfalls. My favorite song on the record is Digging on You. Shout out to Babyface.
That was all Babyface on that one.
Yeah,
that vibe was
the live video version is the best though.
Yes, I was just about to say you read my mind, Matthew. That is probably the best version of that song. On there, but yeah, I mean, there's plenty of great songs on there. But yeah, I mean, I think at the time didn't it make them like the most successful girl group until Destiny's Child took over that title, the best selling.
Yeah,
I would argue. Destiny's Child outsold TLC.
No,
yeah, I think
Destiny's Child
so.
is in terms of album sales, they're the biggest selling female group of all time.
Why is
TLC was bigger before them?
Why does that surprise me though? I don't know why.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, Destiny's Child was really, really big, but Crazy Sexy Cool, that was probably what helped put them over the top because, I mean, it's a diamond album. What girl group is selling diamond? Like even Destiny's Child hasn't sold 10 million copies of a single record, in terms of albums. But Crazy Sexy Cool, excellent. My favorite song on the album is is "Let's Take Our Time," another great sexy song.
Yeah.
I would say, Something Wicked This May Comes, but Andre 3000 disses Michael Jackson on that, and it's hard for me to reconcile.
Yeah, no. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Chili taking lead on Take Our Time?
Yeah, she sings the whole song lead on that
Chili.
one. Yeah,
Beautiful.
So she
song.
sings that. It was a great song.
She's still fine.
Oh yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Dating Matthew Lawrence.
Hey man, she happy.
Oh wait, she was dating him back then or dating him now?
Dating him now.
Right now.
She's dating him now.
Okay. Because I wanted to say I think around this time that she was recording Crazy Sexy Cool, she was with Dallas Austin.
She was with Dallas Austin. This is before they had their baby.
She wanted to be with Michael though, but
Oh, I know. Yeah, I saw that clip.
Yeah, she did.
And there's clips, many clips. Saying that's the only one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of clips.
Yeah.
And she's been on that tip for years. She's been saying that for years, for the record.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Chili, man. But no,
right.
Crazy Sexy Cool is my next pick. Yeah.
Good
all right, my 14th pick is going to be. I don't think you guys have this on your list. I'm assuming. I'm going to take a band that's had a little bit of some love in the late '90s. I'm going to take Third Eye Blind's subtitle album and debut. Again,
Great
top
album.
20. If I give you a top 25 favorite albums of all time on my list, this album's probably cracking the top 25. I love this record, and even now, my wife and I once in a while will play songs off the record once in a while in the car, and it just gives it a good vibe. Losing Whole Year, Semi-Chart Life, love that song. Jumper, obviously the best song. How's It Gonna Be? You guys should know that song. This is a great album. It's a great laid back rock album that's not that heavy. It's nice. It's nice. It puts you in a good place, man. So this album definitely making the list here. Third Eye Blind subtitle album.
Nice, good one.
Right. All right. 15th round, Matt.
Okay. Ooh. I'm gonna go with 1997's Super Duper Fly, Missy Missamina Elliott.
Dang it. I was going to pick that one. Shoot.
Yeah. Her debut album, I said it before a little bit earlier. I think she's the greatest hip hop artist of all time. Not necessarily the best hip hop rapper, but hip hop artist. I think she's the GOAT. Because everything considered, she does everything at a high level. She's been consistently successful in terms of commercial sales. She's so innovative, but yet she pulls back from traditional hip hop in terms of just the way that people like Grandmaster Caz flowed, in terms of the slickness. And then she's very Afrofuturistic, taking from people like Sun Ra and people like Africa Bambaataa and George Clinton. But man, this album, Sock It To Me, you have I Can't Stand the Rain, you have Beat Me 911, which is my favorite Missy song of all time. It's so different. Missy Elliott and Timbaland might be the last true Black originals in music. There's nothing that when you hear their music, and this even goes back to what they did the year before with Aaliyah, there's nothing that I've heard in the past that I can link to what they were doing at that time. I can't look at what they're doing and say, oh, that sounds like it was influenced by such and such. No, it sounds like nothing I've ever heard. So yeah, Super Duper Fly.
Man, yeah, great pick. And I want to shout out a couple songs on there that I love. Friendly Skies with her and Genuine is a good song. Even the song, it's like an interlude, but it's called Bite Our Style. They sampled Jamiroquai. Me and Timbaland would make you want to bite our style. Like, I just love that. And Why You Hurt Me has like this, like that's a tough beat. The song Why You Hurt Me is great song. And then what's the one with her and Lil Kim on it? I'm trying to remember the name of it.
I can't. It's coming to me. But I also like Why You Keep Coming in My Face. That's another one that's really sick.
And then I even love Busta Rhymes intros and stuff. Like he just randomly comes in. He's like, "Hey, yo, yeah, great album."
Yeah.
All right, Chris, it's on you.
Okay, yeah, it is on me. It is on me.
It's on you.
Let's see. I'm gonna go to the opposite side. I gave TLC some love. I'm gonna give Boyz II Men some love, and I'm gonna pick their second album.
Or two?
That was
Yep.
Yeah, two.
Number two.
That was my next one.
Number two. Yeah. Man, talk about a nostalgic album for me. I mean, like all the songs on here, I have vivid memories of. I mean, the big hits. You know, a lot of people know. You know, "Vibin'," "I'll Make Love to You," "On Bended Knee," "Water Runs Dry." But I would say probably my favorite song on the album is "Jezebel" because it has that street corner Philly soul kind of feel to it, where they start out on the train and they're talking to each other. And all of a sudden, it's like, "Take your time. Take your time."
With the whistle.
It's so smooth. Yes. Oh gosh, I love that song. Love that song. And is man, that's just shout out to Tim.
That one.
Yeah, Tim and Bob don't get enough credit as producers, honestly. Like I love Tim and Bob. They do a great job on this album.
Another album that tore up radio in '94. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's just the hits. To me, the non-singles were what takes this album as being one of the three best R&B male group albums of that decade.
Yes.
You know, you have All Around the World, you have you have Vibin', you have Jezebel, you have 50 Candles, you have the cover of the Beatles Yesterday, which is all a cappella. It's great from front to back. And then of course, one of my all-time favorite singles by them is on this album, which is "Water Runs Dry," written by Babyface. Just whew.
And Babyface could not miss, man. He couldn't miss this decade.
I'm so angry that you picked that. That was my next pick.
Yeah.
Literally,
I know how it feels, man.
I'll consider like me picking Boyz II Men's second album. This is the equivalent of me picking Stevie Wonder's "Hotter Than July" on the last episode.
No, this is more the Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Oh,
yeah.
When
you picked Introducing the Hardline, I was so angry about that one because I just knew no one was going to pick it. It was like, go ahead, EJ.
Well, my pick here is my 15th pick is I'm going to take an album from my all-time favorite hip-hop artist, and that's from Busta Rhymes, 1998's Extinction Level Event, or ELE.
Good album.
Obviously, that record has the song with Janet, What's Gonna Be. I mean, I'm looking at the list again of the songs here, so I'm kind of brain dead right now, but that album is absolutely phenomenal.
His best album, in my opinion.
Wow. It is his best album, yeah. I would argue probably my favorite album. Maybe I still think a lot of people don't like Anarchy, but I love Anarchy. The record.
The album after this one.
You're after that one, 2000. Yeah, that came in 2000. What else songs down here? My cousin that passed away recently, rest in peace, Cecil, of course. He's the one that kind of really like. I was into Busta early on, but he was a massive fan. And then I would hang out with him in the late '90s, and he would always play this album. And this was what really made me a massive fan of Busta. What's up, Chris?
A quick comment. My favorite song on this album, and it blew my mind when I realized what he sampled. The song "Give Me Some More," how it sampled Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho theme.
Is it really?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
That's Psycho. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just loops it, but it's so dope how they sample it. Because like for years I just knew Busta Rhymes song, and then when I went back and started watching Hitchcock, I'm like, oh, that's Busta Rhymes right there. I was like, that blew my mind. Like brilliant sample.
Does it feel like Busta should be bigger than he really is, dog? I know he gets his
he's one of the three most underrated rappers of all time. I think it's because of the fact that he's been consistent when it comes to his singles, but this is as close to him putting out a classic album as he's ever come. I wouldn't even call ELE a classic per se, because it's not really on the level of like an Illmatic or a Life After Death, in my opinion. But to me, ELE is his best album from front to back. I even like I'm on record to say I'm not a fan of sketches and skits on records, but even the skits on this album are extremely entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. All right, 16th round here. 5 picks each left to go. We're going 2.5 hours easy here. I know it. It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's probably the longest podcast I've ever recorded in my life. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next up for me, I'm gonna pick a personal favorite. I'm going to be picking 1998's Traveling Without Moving by Jamiroquai.
Man, I have all their albums on here, and I literally was waiting to the end to pick them because I thought nobody was going to say Jamiroquai.
Yeah, to me,
Man.
that's their third album. It's their best album. It's their most commercially successful album. And man, oh man, this is airtight, beautiful, beautiful record. Of course, it opens with the big hit, Virtual Insanity. An excellent music video, but a great song, very poignant and a lot of social commentary in that song. But it's just funky as I don't know what. Then you have songs like Cosmic Girl. You have songs like Every Day, which is a sexy slow jam. Then you have All Right, which is a funky mid-tempo jam. Then you have High Times, another funky song with a social commentary on using on drug addiction. And then you have like the sort of disco cut with You Are My Love. Then you have the reggae thing on Drifting Along. It's just then you have the really fast-paced sort of like club record and Use the Force. It's an excellent record, deceptively diverse in its stylings. And then JK has a very distinct, enjoyable singing voice, to the point where a lot of people think he is Jamiroquai, and Jamiroquai is not the whole band, which it is. Jamiroquai is the band, and Che is the singer. Just like Sade is a band and not the girl. Just like Hootie and the Blowfish is the band, and Darius McCrary Darius is not Hootie. You know,
Right.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, so Traveling Without Moving, Jamiroquai. Yeah, that's my 16th pick.
All right, 16th pick for you, Chris.
All right, so since we were talking about underrated rappers, I'm gonna name somebody who, in my mind, has a case to be called the greatest of all time. I'm gonna go with LL Cool J's Mr. Smith album.
Oh, that's a great record. That's from 1995. That's a great. That is arguably his best album. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah,
it's in the conversation though.
No, I'm right there with you. And I mean, the big hits, Hey Lover, which samples Lady in My Life from Thriller. Doing It was like, man, you couldn't escape that song on the radio, man. Like Doing It was everything.
Again, I was 15, the album came out. Believe me, I was, like, whoa, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then the song Loungin', my mom loved that song. Like, who do you love?
I want to lounge you.
Yeah. Great song.
I do what I gotta do.
Yeah. See, you know what's up. You know what's up. But man, I Shot Ya was like, him and Keith Murray on that track was crazy. Like, that song does not get enough love within the hip hop community. So Mr. Smith, that I agree with you, EJ. It's arguably LO's best album.
Yeah. All right, my 16th pick. I'm surprised no one's taking this pick yet. Honestly, I'm surprised Matt didn't take this pick especially too, because you mentioned the band once already, but you didn't take this album. So I'm going to take it now. Never mind by Nirvana. One of the most iconic.
Oh my gosh, I thought that had already been said.
Nope.
Jeez.
No, I picked MTV. I took the Unplugged album.
That's right. Oh my gosh, man.
I mean, this is a very massive album for the decade. It's still a change in music at the time, also too, grunge, becoming really mainstream. Stuff like Two Spirit and Bloom, Come As You Are. I mean, this is almost like a greatest hits album, really, in one.
Yeah,
it really is.
So, I mean, I was never a big, again, another band that I, in the moment, wasn't a fan of at the time. As I've gotten older, really appreciated, So Nirvana, next time, I'm not a massive Nirvana fan, but I do appreciate them as I got older. I do like the music, yes. So Nirvana, definitely, never mind. Like I said, it took over Michael's Dangerous, I think 2 weeks after it came out, 1 week after it came out on the charts. So it was a massive album. One of the biggest albums of all time, biggest albums of the decade, obviously. Even again, music had it in the top 100 also too. So there you go. So for me, never mind at my 16th pick. All right, 17th round, Mr. Matt.
All right, 17. I'm picking 1993's Midnight Marauders by A Tribe Called Quest.
Wow, great pick.
All right, so you picked, in my opinion, the superior album, which is Low End Theory, but a lot of people think that Midnight Marauders is the superior album. I think, to me, it's just as flawless as it gets in terms of hip hop. I mean, you have songs like Award Tour. You have songs like
Stir It Up.
Steve Biko. Yeah. You have 8 Million Stories. You have the song. Yeah, and that song really was one of the first songs to dissect the how the word nigga gets used in hip hop and in the Black community and the connotations behind that. Then you have songs like then just the last 3 songs on that album really just do it for me. You go from the Chase Part 2 to Lyrics to Go to God Lives Through. It's just, I mean, God Lives Through to me is just, it's a perfect hip hop record. It's just Lyrics to Go, some of Q-Tip's best wordplay, Poetry Machine with direct Poetry Machines with direct mechanisms, immune to disease, I defeat organisms. It's just a great, you have Oh My God on that record.
Yes. Busta Rhymes.
You have so much, exactly. Just an excellent record.
Yep. Yeah. Electric Relaxation, probably the biggest song on that album.
Easily.
But I would say bonus track on this album is my favorite, Hot Sex. Like, that was a huge hit. Hot Sex on the Platter. Like, that's great song.
which is originally on the Boomerang soundtrack.
Right.
From the year before. Yeah.
Shout out to Boomerang.
Yeah. All right. So 17th pick for you, Chris.
17th pick. Okay, man, we are starting to crack down. Let's see. I'm gonna go with. Oh man, I'm gonna go with My Way, Usher.
Oh, his debut album, right?
Oh man,
no,
his second album.
Yeah, it's his second album. His debut album was self-titled, but My Way was like that. I would say it's his off the wall in a way, because like it really made a name for himself with, You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow, My Way. One of my favorite songs on there is I Will, produced by Teddy Riley, one of the best ballads that he's done. But yeah, like that album is fantastic. Fantastic way to truly make a name for himself, because his first album wasn't as successful as he wanted it to be. But then once he, like My Way is iconic R&B. And a shout out to Jermaine Dupri for, lacing him up with some bangers on that one.
All right. My 17th pick. I think it's picked here. I'm just making sure I wanted that. I'm gonna go a little corny here a little bit. I'm gonna go back to my childhood a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take an album that was really massive in 1990, and that is MC Hammer's "Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him."
Hey, shout out to MC Hammer, man.
That was on my list. Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand, like 34 years later, how massive. For a good year or two, MC Hammer was probably the biggest artist in the industry. He was certainly, his Q rating was pretty high. He was definitely top 3. Like in 1990, he was all over radio.
He was a man.
Now, granted, a lot of the songs he did were all remakes, though, to be real. It wasn't really like he was putting a lot of original music.
Right.
The Dancing Machine and,
right.
there were really a lot of like original music in the album, looking back in hindsight. But for what he was doing at the time as a performer, as a rapper and all that, he was doing some really good stuff at the time. That, I mean, there was a time where, because I was still a massive Michael fan back then, even back in 90, but there was a time when MC Hammer may have challenged that for a couple of months, for a second, at 10 years old, but that was short-lived. But yeah, that album is, I even play it today, and like, it still slaps in some ways.
Yeah.
It's dated, but it still slaps.
Yeah.
It's okay. So MC Hammer, Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him was my 17th pick in this draft. All right, round 18, guys. Matt, 3 more to go for each of us. Oh my God.
Man, you took My Way. I'm gonna pick 1992's 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of Arrested Development.
Wow, dang, yo, that's a dark horse pick. That's a good one.
It's a great pick. Actually.
Yeah. I love this album. My dad had the tape. He knew exactly when to flip the tape, so he knew when Everyday People was going to come on, and then flip it back so he knew that Mama's Always on Stage. Like, just every song on this record is great. Mama's Always on Stage. People Every Day. The first and only time I heard the N-word used on the radio that didn't get bleeped. You have Natural. You have Dawn of the Dreads. You got Mr. Wendell, which was a huge hit. You know,
Mr.
talking
Window,
about talk about homeless, old sage homeless man. You got Tennessee, another deceptive Prince sample. It samples Alphabet Street. He actually had to cough over, I think it was either $500,000 or $1 million after the song went #1 because they didn't clear the sample to Prince. So, but I mean, Prince, he waited for it to be a hit. If it wasn't a hit, he probably wouldn't have cared.
He didn't care.
But just everything. You have Washed Away on this album, which is a very, poignant song to end on. And then you have Fishing for Religion. It's just Rain Revolution. It's an excellent, hip hop record. But it's also speaks to, the sort of Afrocentrist nature of where hip hop was headed from, like native tongues, and what sort of a more organic thing of what it's sort of like the Move. The Move organization's version of hip hop, for those who understand like Move and Philadelphia and that movement and stuff like that.
Okay. Chris, what you got?
I'm going to go with Genuine the Bachelor. Genuine.
Oh, I like that one, man.
Yeah.
Another
I like it too.
A lot of folks really know this album because of Pony, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a dope song, but man, like this is an album I truly spent a lot of time with growing up. My favorite song on there is I'll Do Anything, I'm Sorry, which does a brilliant job sampling Stevie Wonder's Visions. I won't talk about When Doves Cry cover because I think it's trash. But I'll go with, Tell Me Do You Wanna, Holla, Genuine for Your Mind, Only When You're Lonely. Like there's a lot of good songs on here where you really see Timbaland establish himself even more as a producer. Like, again, I know Pony really put him on a lot of people's radar, but Timbaland really does a great job from a production standpoint on this album. And Genuine sounds great.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. My 18th pick, I'm going to go with a band that I will be seeing live for the third time ever in a month. Well, less than a month, in about 2 weeks, actually. That is 1998's album, Follow the Leader by Korn.
Shout out to Korn.
Phenomenal record. No, Pick on a Leash. Got my favorite song of theirs on this album, Got the Life. The sickest like drum beat. I love the video. On the Family. I love the record. I mean, people will argue probably the best record is probably their debut, and maybe so. But this is to me is my favorite record of theirs, and this is the one that really made me a massive fan. So, Follow Leader by Korn, we'll be seeing in 2.5 weeks. Can't wait for that show. Can't wait. All right, round 19. Wow, we got here.
Still going.
Yep. All right.
Okay. I am picking 1995's Waiting to Exhale soundtrack.
Dadgummit, man. Stole my pick, man.
Yeah. I can't believe it. This is why the 90s is so crazy. The fact that it was this low, man, this is just an excellent, exquisitely curated soundtrack in terms of picking the best Black female singers and singing groups of the time for this soundtrack to this movie developed from Terry McMillan's best-selling novel, Waiting to Exhale. I mean, Whitney Houston was sort of the poster woman for the record because, number one, she has 3 songs on the album, the only person that has more than 1 song on it. Number 2, she was involved. She had veto power along with Babyface in terms of people who could not be on the album that he picked. So some controversy behind the scenes. But in terms of the songs she had, I mean, you have Exhale, Shoop Shoop, which was the number 1 single. Why Does It Hurt So Bad? And of course, her duet with CeCe Winans, Count on Me. which is a beautiful, beautiful record. You have songs like "Sitting Up in My Room" by Brandy. You have "Let It Flow" by Toni Braxton, which was added to her next album, Secrets. You have "Do It All Night Long" by SWV. You have "It Hurts Like Hell," Aretha Franklin. You have the excellent cover of "Funny Valentine" by Shaka Khan.
Yes.
Who can still get it in her 60s, with all due respect.
She can.
But see, this guy knows what I'm talking about. But you have that. You have "Way You," which is an underrated song by Shantae Moore. And then, of course, "This Is How It Works." It's a very sexy song by TLC. It's just an excellent, excellent album from top to bottom.
Yep, I agree. And to me, probably the one of the more underrated songs on that album, again, since I gave Mary J a lot of flowers earlier, "Not Gonna Cry." Anytime I think of that song, I think about Angela Bassett's character and her going through the whole character arc that she went through in the movie. Great song. And then what surprised me, like I looked up this movie a while ago. No, actually, I looked it up whenever we were, researching for this. I did not know that Forrest Whitaker directed "Waiting to Exhale."
Yep,
like that blew my mind.
Yeah, he did, and he actually is the one that asked Babyface to do the soundtrack. Well, he asked Babyface to do the score,
right?
And he didn't want to do it, but he convinced him to do it, and then he did the soundtrack also. So yeah. Great
soundtrack. And man, you took my pick, man. You took it. Mm-hmm. But all right. So for this is a 19th round
pick. Yeah.
All right. Straight up nostalgic. I understand a lot of people will probably laugh at this album because I picked it, but Big Willie Style, Will Smith was a huge freaking album for me. I had to listen. I was 7 years old. Men in Black was huge. He was in Independence Day, like all that. So you had Getting Jiggy with It, Miami, Men in Black, Just Cruising. There's a lot of good songs on this album, man. So it's just straight up nostalgia for me. Big Willie.
You got Chasing Forever, which is a great sample of Ribbon in the Sky.
Yep.
You got a sample of Candy by Cameo on this record.
Yep.
The title track, Big Willie Style, actually samples a Dark Horse Earth, Wind, Fire track that's one of my favorites from their Powerlight album, Something Special.
Oh, dang, that's right. And it's got Left Eye on it, too.
Yes.
Dang, wow. I didn't realize it was a Earth, Wind, and Fire sample. That's a good call out.
Yeah, Something Special, 1983.
Man. Yeah, good album. And Jamie Foxx is
Keith Be Real.
Yeah, Keith Be Real. And that's something I miss from the 90s is when albums had skits and it just kind of took.
I don't miss it at all.
You don't miss it? Okay, all right.
I don't miss it at all. I don't like any I think skits are a scourge. I really don't. I don't like skits and I don't like album outros or intros. There are some exceptions. De La Soul obviously is exceptions. Kanye West's first two albums are exception. Lauryn Hill's Miseducation is exception, and like I said before, Busta Rhymes ELE. But other than that. The Janet album has 27. Janet has 27 tracks on it, and more than half of them are interludes. So no.
But it tells a story though. She tells
a
whole story.
Yeah, but they just it's not necessary.
It's annoying as hell, I believe.
Yeah,
I'm with you. And I get at that time we're seeing music go from vinyl to CDs, and a lot of people wanted to pack that. CD with as much content as possible. So I get it, but it was overkill with the skits. I do understand that.
Yeah. Once you can start putting 80 minutes onto an album, that's when everything started going downhill.
Well actually, my last pick is gonna be you'll see the second artist or band that did do that at the very end. We'll go in a second.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Your 19th pick.
I am shocked this album is still on the board.
Oh crap!
This album was huge. This album swept the Grammys actually too in 1999. Matt, you want to go on this one?
The 1999. Oh, I know the one you're about to say.
Want to say it?
And it's just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you.
Wow.
You got me loving that can be so soon. Yeah, give me your heart and make it real. Come on, let's forget about it.
My wife's a huge Rob Thomas fan too, so I mean,
Matchbox 20 is one of my two least favorite bands ever. Them and Dave Matthews Band, I can't stand them.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing that because you like Rob Thomas.
No, I like Rob Thomas. I don't like Matchbox 20.
Why? What's wrong with Matchbox 20? What's wrong with
that? It's just dumb overrated. Just super
boring,
overrated.
Right? Boring?
Very boring. The only song by them I legitimately like is 3 a.m.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. 3 a.m. is great. I would say If You're Gone is probably my favorite by them.
My wife's a huge fan, so.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead. You have the floor on Santana Supernatural.
I mean, this album took over the Grammys. It actually came with one Grammy of Ty Michael's record.
No, they did Ty Michael.
It did Ty
Michael. They both won 8 in one night.
8 in one night.
I thought he had 7.
No, Michael won 7 for Thriller, and he won for E.T. Storybook. So it was 8 in one night, and Santana won 8 in one night that same night.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the album was huge. And I mean, look, you have like guest appearance by Rob Thomas, Lauryn Hill, you name it. Lots of artists, especially at the time, were notable artists on the album. You gotta give credit, man. It was a great record. I'm surprised it's on the board. This album was huge.
It was huge. There's a song on there with Everlast on it that's really underrated.
Song.
Turn the lights down.
That was also one of the ones I got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah. So what a record. Yeah. All right, finally, last round, guys. And you know what's funny? We won 20 rounds. Couldn't go another 10 rounds, honestly.
Seriously, I still have a bunch of albums I haven't named yet.
So let's close it out. Man. What you got? 20 round.
Let's close it out. Okay. Wow, there's a lot I could pick from here. A lot of stuff that hasn't been picked. Wow, man. You know what? My number 20 is going to be the 1990s self-titled Johnny Gill album.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, really? That's interesting.
To me, it's just as good as Don't Be Cruel.
Ooh, I don't know if I go that far.
No, I would.
I wouldn't either.
No, listen.
Hot take.
All right, so Don't Be Cruel was anchored by Teddy Riley and Babyface. Mm-hmm. Johnny Gill's self-titled album, which is his third overall album and his second self-titled album, is anchored by Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who are the two. I mean, you have the Babyface songs, My. You have you have the songs Wrap My Body Tight. You have Fair Weather Friend. Those are the Babyface songs. Then you have the Jam and Lewis songs, which is Rub You the Right Way, which is Lady du Jour, which is Feel So Much Better. God, it's just there's no Just Another Lonely Night. It's like the quality of this album from the beginning to the end is completely unrelenting. Unrelenting. It's to me, it is just as good as Don't Be Cruel in terms of the quality of the album, and I'll die on that hill. Whether it's better than Don't Be Cruel or not, to me they're neck and neck. But that's my last pick of the night.
Man, you sure did end with a hot take. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Don't Be Cruel is crazy.
Look, Don't Be Cruel is elevated. Don't Be Cruel is elevated because of just the fact that Bobby had 5 top 10 pop singles on that record. Johnny Gill's had 2 top 10 pop singles with Rub Me the Right Way and My. But he had number one. We had like 4 or 5 number one R&B singles on that album with Wrap My Body Tight, Rub You the Right Way, My, Fair Weather Friend. It's an excellent record. It's just airtight.
Yeah. Dang.
All right, close it out, Chris. What you got for your last pick?
Well, this may I don't know. This may be a mild take after having to follow that one up, but I can't leave my man Michael hanging like that, man. I gotta put blood on the dance floor.
That's not an album.
I gotta take it. I gotta take it. Listen,
it isn't. But I'll let him have it.
I'm taking it because it is considered a remix album, and I like. There's rumors that Michael, was totally against it. It was really a Sony move. But on the strength of Is It Scary alone, I got to take this album. I got to.
So you told me I sat here for 2.5 hours, and this album's been sitting here all this time, and I could at least claim this one to say why I got an MJ album on this show, and that was 2 shows in a row that we've done with you two, and I've not got a Michael album. Well, I got a Jackson's album on there, but not a Michael album. That is insane to me. And I'm the one wearing the damn T-shirt. Like, unbelievable.
But not like Is It Scary?
But last one you got go. But the last one you did get Triumph, which is great. You got Triumph last time, which was great. But yeah, well, no, you got the live album, Chris, and EJ picked Triumph. But yeah. But go ahead, Chris. You talking about Is It Scary?
Yeah. On the strength of Is It Scary alone, I mean that is my favorite song on that album. And again, I know a lot of folks don't claim that album, but you have the title track, which to me, like, you know, Michael and Teddy Riley blacked out on that. Like that's a crazy title track. Even Superfly Sister, like that song tends to get overlooked. Brian Loren produced it, great song. Morphine is one of the toughest songs to listen to, but it is such a brilliant song at the same time. Demerol. Yeah, that breakdown
God is taking Demerol. And
a lot of truth in that song too. Also, a lot of truth in that song.
Yeah.
Yo, Morphine. That's some like 9 Inch Nails type of shit.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds like it could have came off a Downward Spiral. That album. It sounds like it could have easily come off there. Easy. Morphine is brilliant. And then Ghost. You know, not too crazy about the song itself, but the music video, I
love the beat on Ghost. It's so dope because the thing is, Teddy Riley produced Ghost and he produced Blood on the Dance Floor. Right. I think Blood on the Dance Floor he produced during the Dangerous sessions, which Michael put on. He was upset about it because he wanted to update it because it was a 6-year-old track. Mm-hmm. But Ghost was much more, felt much more in line with like the time in terms of it being the mid 90s. Yeah. But no, I love the song Ghost. I mean, the video is great too, but the song I love. And I do agree. Blood Dance Floor actually was supposed to be on Dangerous. It made the first or second cut before it was ultimately replaced. By, one of like I Can't Let Her Get Away or whatever it was that replaced it. But yeah. I wouldn't have picked Blood on the Dance Floor just because I don't think it's canon technically. It's technically an album, but kudos to you just on the strength of Is It Scary, because Is It Scary, I think it could have fit on History. Aesthetically it fits better on Blood on the Dance Floor, which I wish could have been a fuller album if they were even going to go there, like a really dark album, or even I'll even say I wish History was an authentic double album rather than it being one CD has greatest hits and one CD has 15 originals. It should have just been a full-on double album of original material. Put Blood on the Dance Floor, Ghost, and Superfly Sister, Morphine, Is It Scary on the album, or replace some songs from History like DS and Come Together. And even though You Were Not Alone was a record-setting hit, it does have R&B Voldemort on it, and
it's actually my least favorite song of his, actually.
Oh yeah, I wasn't a fan of the song. I was glad it broke the record in terms of it debuting at number 1, but which actually beat Michael's record of Scream debuting at number 5 on the same album.
Wow, crazy, huh?
But yeah, I was never crazy about You're Not Alone, and I just think
outside the last 47 seconds of that song, I don't like that song.
Yes, that note he held at the end is great, but yeah. Thank goodness I was never really a big fan of the songwriter, because I like not getting dragged by Twitter and having my connects not totally write me off.
Right,
exactly.
And last thing I'll say about Blood on the Dance Floor, I do love the remix that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did for Scream Louder. That is a great remix.
With the sign of Family Stone sample.
Yep.
Honestly, most of the Scream remixes I heard through the years are top notch.
I don't know. I actually don't agree. I think the only remixes I like on there is
That
the
and
Scream
Too Bad.
Louder remix. Thank you. The
Yeah,
Too Bad remix of Wyclef.
Wyclef
Is
Jean.
that the one? Is that the one with the guitar?
The
It
beat it
samples
interpolation. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
samples
interpolates beat it.
Yep.
I like those two, and that's it. And the only thing that even is remotely close to me is the History remix, just because.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Earth Song. I actually like.
No, I don't like
one? You like
any
Honey?
remixes other than those two.
I actually like the
Those
Honey remix Earth Song.
Yeah, I like Hani's experience. Like the
on
remix
there.
for Earth Song. I actually dig that.
No, I actually think that those remixes sort of dilute the power of the originals. You know, I prefer when the remixes that are the authentic remixes that are on the singles, like the singles for like this that are on the This Time Around single. Mm-hmm. Those are great. And like the singles, like on like this, like In the Closet, or the remix. So the remixes on that, or the remixes on Who Is It? Yeah. Those are great remixes. So, but or the remixes on Jam and Remember the Time and stuff like that on the single versions. But like on this History remix, it was just like they just got remixes just for the sake of remixes instead of actually like thinking, how can we do a different enhancement of these songs, because the songs were nothing to be screwed with. I mean,
yeah,
Earth Song and Stranger in Moscow and History, they tackle some really important themes. Money could have been made into a brilliant, excellent remix if they approached it the right way, but
I agree.
They didn't.
By the way, my favorite remix of Michael's actually is the Who Is It reggae mix. It's on the single I owned years ago. There's a reggae mix from Who Is It from not Who Is It. I'm sorry. It's Beat It on the Who Is It single. I apologize. It's Beat It, but a Beat It reggae mix on the Who Is It single.
I have to go find that.
I had when I was a kid, I had the cassette single for Who Is It, and in today in the last year and a half, I bought the vinyl single of Who Is It, the vinyl 12-inch.
Oh, dope! Where he's wearing the black jacket and he's looking out to the side.
I had that poster.
That was actually my favorite picture of Michael's for a long time.
That's a dope picture.
It is a dope
picture. Yeah, it's the only Michael poster I ever had.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've had many. Jeez. Anyway, last one for me.
Yeah, take us home, EJ. Take us home.
So the theme for me here was I wanted to like not repeat artists and bands here. I wanted to just keep like diverse, but I have a hard time doing that. Like I have an option here. Do I repeat a band, or do I bring another band that's out my love? I'm saying screw it. I'm gonna repeat the band. If you're gonna steal Michael for yourself and do another Michael album, then I'm gonna do that to Chris. So we open Metallica. We're gonna close Metallica, and I can't leave this album off because it is actually my second favorite album of theirs of the entire catalog, and that is Load. Metallica Load.
Yeah, that's a great album.
I'm a massive, and again, this is an album that's very controversial because this is the change again. They've gone mainstream Black Album. They wait 5 years. All of a sudden, they come up with Load 1996. They cut their hair. They're wearing makeup. It's a controversial cover on the album. The music sounds a little more bluesier. There's a country song on the album now on top of it too. So now Metallica's gone from thrash to mainstream metal, mainstream rock, to now they're doing almost alternative rock now, in a sense. But this album is special for me because this is where the album that. So I became a fan of Metallica in '96, but I became a fan of Metallica before the album release. So for me, it was weird because for 3 months prior to the album being released, I'm listening to the Black Album, listening to Dust for All, Lightning, Puppets, all that. So I have an idea what Metallica is. Then I see the promos for this album, and Until Sleep comes out, and it's like, oh, this is weird. It's a little different from the old stuff. Then I get the album. When it comes out in June of '96, and the album is completely different than everything I've heard in the past. So I'm a new fan, 4 months into fandom, and this band sounds completely different. But at the same time, it's like, this is interesting though, and I'm understanding why people are so pissed off about it because this is a band that's trying new things and it's cutting their hair and all that. What's a big deal? But learning about the band, I realized, I see why they're pissed off now, because they had a certain image and was more dirty and rugged and all stuff, and now they're more clean cut and again wearing makeup and all this good stuff. But this album for me is still it has stood the test of time through these years, even as controversial as it is for this band. This is still my second favorite album of Metallica's. And this is special. This is more special for me, more for the fact that this was the album that pretty much cemented my fandom for this band.
That's
so
fair.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan for 30 years. Yeah, I've been a fan for almost 30 years. So this is it. And I saw him first time I saw him live. It was on this tour also too.
One of my favorite Metallica songs is on this album, which is Ronnie.
You like Ronnie?
Yeah, I look like that. I just love the groove on that. It's just, I'm a funk fan. I just love a lot of like soulful, like funky sort of R&B and stuff. And there's a lot of that in that groove in that first record. I mean, I said I love Sad But True, which is very
heavy,
funky to me, as a funky sort of like thing to me. So I love Ronnie on that record.
This album has a lot of heavy blues bass.
A lot of southern rock influence lot on this record.
Yeah, very, very. But like I said, it's aged well actually. Now, fans aren't as mad about it now.
It has aged a lot better than a lot of other Metallica songs. Like you said that you liked "And Justice for All." You said that's your favorite, like one of your favorite Metallica albums. To me,
it's my favorite album of all time.
Yeah, your favorite album of all time. But to me, that album hasn't aged as well, just because of the fact that, the long songs, they're great.
The production is shit, of course.
Production, the mix wasn't that great either. That's another thing that made Bob Rock so great, was because of the fact that not only was he a great producer, but he was also a great mixer too. So, I think that ultimately is why albums like Black Album, like Load, even Reload, which has a lot of great big crossover records like The Memory Remains and Fuel.
Which is weird, because Reload is literally the same songs written for the same session, but if you put Load and Reload together, they actually sound like two different records. Actually,
they don't sound anything alike. I think Reload is more of sounds more of like an authentic
rock.
No, it sounds more like an authentic or organic follow-up to the Black Album to me.
Yeah, it does.
To me, if Reload came out, that would sound like, okay, this is them just doing more of like the Black Album rather than Load. Load was like a departure, and then they kind of came back with Reload. So they don't sound like the same record at all.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Same for years. But Reload has more filler material too. On top of that, in my opinion, more filler than Load.
Yeah, it has bigger hits, but it does have more filler. Load is much more of a cohesive listen.
I agree. I love it. I love Load. So, all right, this is a great 2 out. I believe this might have broken the record from last week of the longest recorded podcast I've ever done in 13 years of the show. Because I did my info preview show last week on here, and it went 2.5 hours. I think this barely beat it as longest podcast ever on this show in 13 years. Oh, cool. So before we get out here, do you guys want to plug anything? You got anything to plug?
Well, yeah. Before we do plugs, I was gonna. I was curious to see what honorable mentions got left out.
Okay. I'll give you a few. So I'll give you mine. I had so I was, again, not trying to repeat bands here, but Fear Factory's Obsolete on honorable mention for me. I had Live Throwing Copper. As our mention, Dr. Dre, The Chronic.
Oh my gosh! I cannot believe
on the list too. Also, no doubt, Tragic Kingdom.
Yes,
on the list also too.
Wow.
Yep.
That was on my list.
And I had also Korn's like first album, subtitle album, and I had Pantera's like Cowboys from Hell and no, it was Cowboys from Hell and Probably Undriven.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I'll do some. I also had Dr. Dre's The Chronic. I also had his 2001, The Chronic 2001 album on my list. I had Doggy Style, Snoop Dogg. I had the Bodyguard soundtrack.
That would have been crazy. That would have been a crazy pick. That would have been
a good one, actually, though.
Yeah, I have Fear of a Black Planet, Public Enemy, Little Kim's Hardcore, all of Mariah Carey's albums from the 90s. I had all Jodeci's albums, Forever Mad Band, Forever My Lady, Sons of Soul, Tony, one I'm really in 2 albums Brandy's first 2 albums, Never Say Never, and her self-titled album. Monica's Miss Thang album. Aaliyah's One in a Million.
Yep.
Mama Say Knock You Out by LL Cool J, and Tony Braxton's first 2 albums, and obviously the first 2 Drew Hill albums, and Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1, George Michael.
Yeah,
like
man.
What about you, Chris? What do you have?
What's the 411? Mary J. Blige, AT Aliens, Outkast. Both of Pete Rock and CL Smooth's albums, Mecca and the Soul Brother, and The Main Ingredient. I was so close to picking those. Close to picking them. And then Outkast, Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music.
Ooh.
I was so close to picking it, but I went with Equimini instead. And then with Tribe, you got People's Travels in the Paths of Rhythm. Pretty much anything Prince. I mean, Love Symbol, The Truth, Crystal Ball, like all that. Emancipation. Emancipation's in there too. Let's see, Chaos and Disorder, The Vault, Come. I know we talked about the Come album a little bit. The Truth, which I came very close to picking, but EJ, you said No Doubt. I had that on here too.
Yep.
And then Jamiroquai, Return of the Space Cowboy, Emergency on Planet Earth. Matthew, I think it was you that picked Traveling Without Moving, right?
Yeah, I picked that one.
Cool. And then Aaliyah's AJ Number to Number, One in a Million.
That one I missed on too.
Yeah, I was so close to picking that. And this is more of a nostalgic pick because EJ, you picked MC Hammer, and I was so close to picking this right after you. Was Totally Crossed Out, Crisscross.
My God, yes!
I missed the bus. I missed the bus,
and that's something I'll never ever
do again.
Yeah. Man, that was my album. Okay, and as far as movie soundtracks, there are 2 that I came very close to picking. The Batman Forever soundtrack is crazy.
It is good. It is good. U2's on there also. On there.
Yep.
Seal.
Yes.
Yeah, Kiss from a Rose is the biggest song, but U2 song, that's my favorite song. On the
I love the YouTube video. I love the video for that YouTube record.
Is it Truly Love Me? Truly Kiss
No,
Me?
love me. Love me.
Thrill me.
Kiss me. Kill me.
Thrill me. Yeah, Kiss Me.
Love me. Kill me. Thrill me. Kiss me. Kill me.
Yeah. Some of that. Yeah.
And then the other soundtrack I was going to recommend was Armageddon.
Not bad. Not bad.
Armageddon.
Don't want to close my eyes.
Yeah, I don't want to miss a thing, but it's kind of a cheat code because it's got LaGrange by ZZ Top on there. It's got Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith as well. Mr. Big Time, John Bon Jovi. I mean, there's some good songs on this album.
I also had Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, and Soundgarden. What's another album? Bad Motorfinger and the Super Unknown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Another great one. I had another ones that I had Dummy by Portishead. That was on my list.
Ooh, Portishead.
And Nirvana's In Utero, which I prefer over Nevermind.
I had that on my list also too as well.
And
and Human Clay by Creed. That's very popular. That's another unpopular pick, but
actually no. I had Creed also too. My Own Prison though. I had the first album. My Own Prison.
Was great.
That's to me their best record, honestly, in my opinion.
So quick side comment, because I know you guys will remember this, but I'm not sure if the audience will. Remember when Tommy Boy Records used to put out the MTV Party to Go CDs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one listed because I had a specific volume that I love, but I was like, man, that's like so out in left field. I doubt anybody will remember the songs on
That's
there.
cheating.
I know it is cheating. So that's why I left it off. I left it off for that reason.
That's like picking Jock Jams.
Compilation. Greatest hits out. It's my rule about greatest. People say, "Oh, the Eagles are the greatest. Greatest is the biggest album of all time." It's not a fucking album. It's not an album.
Says the person that picked the Forrest Gump soundtrack. You just did that a few rounds ago.
We allow soundtracks.
He got you there, EJ. He got you right there.
I'm saying.
But you would have picked it too, Chris. So
I would have. I would have.
Not only
That's
that,
what I'm saying.
not only that, Chris, you started the trend, not me. You started on that style, but not the
okay.
Yes, you did pick. Yeah, you did. You did start the trend, though.
Yo, like gaslighting your guests is a great way to not have them come back. I'm just saying.
No.
I'm joking.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
Jock Jams though. What songs on there? You ready for this? That's all.
Yeah, I like to move it.
Yeah.
I like to move it.
Yeah, come on the train and ride it. Like,
Woo! Who let the dogs out?
Yeah,
Watch next episode. We do 2000 album draft, and here's Chris putting here's now 25.
That's
now 25.
That's some nasty work to put a now CD on.
Y'all was thinking it and you said it. I'm glad you said it and not me.
Who, me?
Now that's what I call music compilations.
Yeah.
Those used to be lit though back in the day though. Like when I was in college, they really were, pretty lit. But now it's just like the fact that they still even do them is kind of nuts. They
stopped doing it, right? They stopped doing it now?
No, they still do them.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's I don't even know what volume it's in.
It's like at 59 or 60 or something at this point, but they still do them.
They still do them, yeah.
I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at music now.
Yeah, they do like now Christmas and like all kinds of stuff. Like
that's what I call 90s. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they do it. Oh my god.
They still do it, man. They still do it.
Crazy. That's what I call 90s pop. Oh my wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You learn something every day.
So I was thinking earlier.
Oh yeah. It's up to 89. It came out in January.
Wow.
Sheesh.
Let
me get Sexy Red's on there now. Jeez.
She probably is. She probably is on there. Has no business being on there.
Not my thing. Not my thing. Wait,
you're my everything.
You a fan of that stuff too?
No, I'm not a fan at all. It's just an earworm. I can't help it.
Yeah. So, last question for you guys. Out of all the albums that you heard, like which one hurt you the most that you didn't get to pick it?
You already know my answer to that question.
Boy.
I do know the answer to
dangerous.
Yep.
Actually, history. History is what history is.
Man, so you got hit with a double whammy from the both of us because of where you fell in the draft pick.
Just like the last episode, and you guys both banned Thriller.
Yeah. Yep. To me, Boyz II Men 2 was definitely one that I was really, really mad about that I didn't pick, that you picked before me. That's like the one that you picked that I really was like, I felt a way about.
Yeah.
So
there were two that I felt some kind of way about. The Forrest Gump soundtrack really got me. And then let's see, there was one that you picked, Matthew. Oh, Illmatic. I was mad that I didn't think of Illmatic sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because I really wanted Ready to Die, and he picked it, so I picked Illmatic. And Life After Death, no one picked Life After Death either.
I was so close, man. I was so close.
It was on the list. There's another one on the list for me too.
I was very close to picking it.
On Matt's list, the few that hit me the hardest, honestly, I have to say, let me see, Crack Rear View definitely hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Enter 36 Chambers hit me. Dookie hit me. And I would say Lauryn Hill, but I knew it'd be gone. I knew it'd be gone with the first two.
Yeah.
Okay, on Chris's list, not including Michael. Michael's the obvious stuff for me.
Right.
So that's not interesting. Looking at on Chris's list, the ones that hit me the most here, I would say TLC, definitely.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a hard one.
Although it wasn't on my list, though, Mr. Smith was definitely like, "Oh my god, why?" On my list?
Yeah. I had to dig deep for that one because it wasn't on my list, but I was just kind of going in my head of like, because I think we started talking about we were talking about Busta Rhymes, him being an underrated rapper, and I was like, man, I haven't even mentioned LL Cool J yet. So
and Low End Theory, definitely.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad.
I was pretty pissed about that. I really wanted that one.
Anything on my list, you guys that I picked that you like? Oh, damn it.
Yeah. Oh. Let me open mine back up real quick because you did pick quite a few. Forrest Gump probably that was the biggest one for me. I would say, man, like the score kind of cut me deep. I was ready to pick that one.
Me too.
Let's see, Matthew, did you pick Super Duper Fly?
Yeah.
Okay, that one got me. And then EJ, I think you didn't you say Jagged Little Pill?
Yeah.
That one got me.
That was rough.
Yeah, just because I had seen her recently too. Like, I mean, I already thought the album was great, but because I saw her recently, I was like, dang, man,
I
wish
knew I
could've got
was
to that.
I knew I was solid on the metal stuff. That's why I waited a little longer to pick those. I know you guys were probably going to pick those.
Yeah.
So that's why I made sure I prioritized the big albums in the '90s early, because I knew if I used my spots early with all the metal stuff, then it was going to be then like albums like Big Ready to Die would be gone, or albums like The Score would be gone.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, for me, it was Ready to Die and Jagged Little Pill from that EJ picked that I was just fuming about, particularly Jagged Little Pill, because I knew that I had it. I knew that no one was going to pick it before me, and you snatched it away. I just
that's how I roll, man. You don't take me to Michael. I come back with
and then you taking Janet as well. Like I was looking forward to getting that one, but you got.
I thought I was going to get both the Janet records, but
I'm surprised it fell that far, honestly.
Because I was after you said Velvet Rope, I was like, man, I may need to get Janet, because if I don't get it, then EJ's gonna get it. It's
brother,
sure enough you did.
Brother, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 opportunities to grab that album, but from the time that he picked it. You got a little too cocky there, Chris.
I did. I was like, nah, I'm gonna get it eventually. And sure enough, like as soon as you took it, I was like, dang, it's gone.
5, 6, 7 opportunities before I grabbed this. Like, y'all ain't keeping this. You ain't stole two Jacksons already. Yeah. So great job as always. I'm just going to close out real quick on there. You want to plug anything before you get out here?
No, not right now. Just look out for, just follow me on Twitter at Headphone Addict. Follow me on TikTok at Headphone Addict 1, on Instagram at Headphone Addict. You can see my work on news1.com. I got some stuff coming up about Donald Trump and campaign music. I'm working. Yeah, so I'm doing stuff about that. You can see my last article with them from last week, which talks about Black music and coded language. Look out for that. I'm going to be turning in the manuscript for my book about neo soul in a few months. Look out for that either late next year or early 2026. But no, that's all I have for now. Just keep an eye out for me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to start do some video shorts, and go to my Substack for some more articles. Headphoneaddict.substack.com.
Cool.
Chris, you want to plug?
No new developments right now. I'm still working on History 30. I hope to have a tribute ready for next year. But anybody that wants to chat with me about music, movies, sports, wrestling, religion, whatever, come, look for me on Twitter at Chris Lacy 0215 on Twitter.
All right,
nice.
Great. Awesome, man. Great job as always, man.